bad person around here, but we have no idea that the FBI and the police have covered every single base, everything that anybody can think of they've covered. I mean, oh.
Rose has been missing for 12 years. I miss her dearly. She's the baby of the family. I had 3 girls, and she's my baby. Yeah, Candus is my baby too, but she's my youngest one. And it's heartbreaking, and then have to go through it again with my granddaughter, Summer, is very heartbreaking. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, is what a parent goes through, what a grandmother goes through. I know it's hard for them if they pass away from COVID or some other tragedy. It's the not knowing is what tears us up. It's the not knowing.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Leslie Earhart, a public information officer with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. Thank you for being here and continuing to cover the search for 5-year-old Summer Wells. Unfortunately, we don't have any significant updates to provide as Summer is still missing, but we did want to share the latest on the investigation and the ongoing search. As you know, she's now the subject of a statewide Amber Alert. She was last seen outside of her home in the 100 block of Ben Hill Road, which is located in the Beech Creek community of Hawkins County. A family member reported her missing to the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office at approximately 6:30 Tuesday evening. At the time she went missing, Summer was reportedly wearing a gray pants and a pink shirt. She is believed to be barefoot. We do want to encourage the public, especially residents living in the area of Ben Hill Road, to check any trail cameras or security cameras that they might have that could have captured Summer on video or in photographs. We also encourage residents to check any crawl spaces, outbuildings, or sheds that would make for good hiding places. As we mentioned, the search is ongoing. There are a number of agencies involved. I'm going to turn it over to Sheriff Ronnie Lawson to talk more about the search and the conditions that authorities are up against. Sheriff.
Thank you. It's been a very intense 21 hours of a lot of searching, a lot of investigation by 19 different agencies. Last night, we had approximately 60 to 80 people searching in the woods, with a number of law enforcement officers doing the investigation also. Today, we've had over 100 people in the woods searching throughout the whole region. We also have agents with the TBI and the FBI assisting my office. We jointly investigating this whole circumstance. Our main goal is to find Summer and find her safe. We have plenty of help. We don't need any assistance from the local people. We have the professional people out searching, and we just appreciate everybody, their contributions. It's been a tremendous outpour from the community with the water, the food, and the snacks. It's just overwhelming, and it's a very intense investigation. I know the public needs to know things, but it's ongoing, and we will release things as we can, when we can. Our main goal right now is to find Summer.
We'll take a couple of questions, but keep in mind we can't discuss specifics of the investigation. Can you talk about the area back here and how it is?
Absolutely.
What it looks like for your office?
It's very dense. The terrain is tremendously hard. We have virtually no cell phone service. The radio system we use, which is not that good, we have very little radio communication. We do have several command posts setting up, but what makes it so hard is the communication between the boots on the ground, searching the woods, and the different agencies and officers, and it's very hard to communicate. And we're not like, we're in these small towns or in towns where you got a lot of cell service, and just for instance, when we get texts from the media, you may text and we may get it an hour later, then we have no way to reply to it. And the same way with the officers, and the ECOM Central Dispatch has done an excellent job. TBI has their command post that should arrive soon, and we're going to continue on until we find Summer and put this case to rest.
Do you believe there was foul play involved, and is there any history with this family?
The family are cooperating, and it's really too early to tell. We're still basically just gathering information, and we're in the search mode right now.
Around 11 this morning, it's switched from missing child alert to an Amber Alert. What goes into the decision of putting that Amber Alert out? Can you clarify the difference between the two?
Sure. After the initial search and as we developed more information as part of the investigation, our team made the decision to elevate the alert to an Amber.
And what's the difference between those two alerts?
An endangered child alert is a mid-level alert where a child could potentially be in danger. An Amber Alert we issue those when we believe a child is in imminent danger of bodily harm or death, and it's the most severe alert.
Since it appeared to be that she walked away from the home, why was it upgraded to an Amber Alert? Can you clarify that just a little bit more?
Well, the bottom line is we don't know where she is at this time. Again, there was the initial search. We acted, and the sheriff's office acted on the information available at the time. And as we learned more in the first several hours into today, it led us to issue an Amber Alert.
Well, when the Amber Alert was issued, you said there was new information that led you to believe that Summer might be in more danger. Can you expand on that a little bit?
I can't. That's part of the investigation.
And we had the
Sheriff
FBI.
Lawson mentioned earlier that he's asking community folks that you have enough resources here. What's your message to the community that they feel like they want to help in some regard? How can they help at this time?
If they see something or know something, they need to tell somebody. That's the biggest thing. A lot of people don't want to get involved. They want to reply to us or respond anonymously. That's fine, as long as we find Summer. That's the main thing right now. And we're talking about the Amber Alert. When they raise that up another level, that helps more people paying more attention. You get more clues, you get more calls, and then everybody can call that 1-800-TBI find, and it all goes into a database, which helps us in an area where we don't have a lot of communication anyway. So TBI helps us with that.
And we know that the FBI was called in fairly early. Can you kind of explain why that decision was made?
Well, we have an excellent relationship working together, and just like if this case stems outside of Hawkins County, then you have the TBI to help with that. But if it expands on out past the state of Tennessee, then you got the FBI. So we're all on the same page, and we just keep on going. We're just working together as a team. All have the same goal. Let's find Summer.
One more question.
Can you expand on maybe just the area where you guys are searching? Maybe if people see something in a certain area, they should be on a heightened alert if they're in a certain area or part of town.
Sure. Can you expand on the area?
Well, the train and stuff is like you see here. This is what the people are searching in. But if they seen something yesterday evening or afternoon that we need to know, that's when they need to make the call or come by the command post.
Any kind of landmarks and sort of an area that you're searching specifically, or
Just
everywhere?
around Ben Hill Road in that area. That's the main, because she's 5 years old and she left the house, and evidently she got a little farther than they expected.
Do you have any idea how much territory your volunteers or searchers are covering?
A lot. We have so many out there that they've broadened the scope. Plus, we've been able to utilize aircraft. THP's been wonderful with their helicopter and the medical helicopters with THP's FLIR at night, and they've been flying today. And it's just outstanding how the community's come to help us, plus all the different resource agencies and the rescue squads and EMSs and all the law enforcement. And we just hope that we have a great result when we find Summer.
Have you gotten any leads?
At this time, we're following up on any and all leads. Again, thank you for being here. We encourage the public to call in any credible information to 1-800-TBI-FIND, and we continue to hold out hope for the best possible outcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
The parents of a missing Tri-Cities girl have launched a YouTube channel. Don Wells and Candus Bly say they hope it's going to help them find their 5-year-old daughter, Summer Wells. They reported her missing over 4 months ago in the Beech Creek community of Hawkins County. Ansley Daniel tonight with the latest on the search for Summer.
Hi, this is Don and Candace Wells, and this is our YouTube channel.
The Don Wells family official YouTube channel launched October 11th, almost 4 months after Summer Wells was reported missing.
Just wanted to thank everyone for helping to find my daughter. We love and miss her with all our hearts. Nothing will ever be the same without her.
Her parents, Don Wells and Candus Bly, telling their story, thanking people and the media.
We just wanted to take a minute to thank everyone that's helping us to try and find our daughter. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Thanks for the prayers and the love.
Some videos documenting their trip to Los Angeles to film for an episode of Dr. Phil. One even including YouTube content creator Benny Keys.
Love and prayers. Thank you for all the support. And I know Don has turned a lot of hearts around. And that's what this is all about, bringing Summer home. Amen.
The channel is part of the family's website, findsummerwells.com, a central place for people to find information like Summer's description, recent news, a blog, and contact information to send tips to their private investigator.
We hope and pray to God we can find our daughter. We can't thank you enough. There's nothing we can do to thank you all enough, but just to thank you and praise our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
In the Beech Creek community, Ansley Daniel, News Channel 11.
The air date for Don and Candus's interview on the Dr. Phil show has not yet been set. Meanwhile, the Amber Alert for Summer remains active tonight, and authorities have said it will stay that way until she's found. They're asking anyone with credible tips to help them find Summer to call the TBI immediately at 1-800-TBI-FIND.
First tonight, the parents of Summer Wells tells News Channel 11 the state of Tennessee has removed their other children from their custody. It was 6 days ago that the Department of Children's Services first confirmed to News Channel 11 they were involved in the case of the missing girl who has now not been seen for 6 weeks. Ansley Daniels spoke with Candus Bly and Don Wells following a hearing in Hawkins County earlier today. She joins us live from Kingsport with details. Ansley?
Yes, Sarah, both Donald Wells and Candus Bly appeared in juvenile court around 1 p.m. earlier this afternoon in Hawkins County. After that appearance, I spoke with them outside where they both confirmed to me that their children were taken by the Department of Children's Services late last week. After that appearance, Summer's parents were emotional and declined to speak with me on camera. I did ask if they knew why their older children were removed from the home, and Candus told me that she would rather not say and wanted to be clear that Summer's disappearance and DCS's involvement with her other children are separate situations. She also told me that they now have a lawyer but would not share that lawyer's information. Don Wells told me that his older children are safer where they are now, but he did not elaborate or specify how. Due to this case involving minors and per Hawkins County's Justice Center's policy, I was not allowed to be in the courtroom or even take a phone or camera inside the lobby. They both walked into the center just a few minutes before their hearing, and upon arrival, they were escorted into a different courtroom away from the lobby from where everyone else was sitting. Right at 1 p.m., an officer came to get them to go into the juvenile courtroom. They left the annex separately, but arrived and left together in the same vehicle. Again, due to this situation involving minors, the juvenile court office could not provide any information or paperwork. I also checked with the clerk's office, who is over circuit, sessions, and criminal court, to see if there was any new paperwork filed for either of them, and was told that there was nothing new. But back here at Borden Park in Kingsport, another prayer circle for their daughter will be held in about an hour, which marks the 6th week since she was last seen. Live in Kingsport, Ansley Daniel, News Channel 11.
Ansley, thanks. Now, the Churchill Rescue Squad announced today it will no longer be the lead agency in the search for Summer Wells, saying the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office is now in charge of future ground searches. Meanwhile, the Amber Alert for Summer Wells issued by the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation remains active. TBI says they've received just under 1,070 tips in the case, but have yet to get a solid lead on where Summer might be. If you have information you think could help locate her, contact TBI. If you see her, call 911 immediately.
Pastors and their congregations are just some of those community members showing up to help in the search for Summer. They're providing food, water, and all they can to help search crews. Mount Carmel Free Will Baptist Church serves a special purpose in the search for Summer. The church is acting as a command post for law enforcement, emergency workers, and search crews to operate out of. The crews have come from all over the southeast and operate from the base 24/7 in case a tip or new lead comes in. Those who attend the church say it's a great honor to be able to provide such an essential service to search crews.
They're working around the clock very hard. Some of the guys I've seen down there, it's been sometimes they've been there for 2 or 3 days, not even, I don't know when they've slept, because every time I'm down there, they've been down there.
Community members tell me they want to say a big thank you to those search teams working tirelessly to bring Summer Wells home. In the Beach Creek community, Amy Cockrum, News Channel 11.
A birthday prayer was held in honor of missing Hawkins County girl Summer Wells. The event is to honor Summer and others who were missing. News Channel 11's Maddie Candus was there and spoke with the event's organizer.
For over 2 years, Summer Wells has been missing. The investigation into her disappearance ongoing. With her birthday coming up soon, the community decided to hold a special prayer event.
February 4 is her birthday, and so we're obviously trying to celebrate her. We don't want to let a single birthday pass without remembering her.
Robin Lane knew Summer through church and simply felt compelled to keep her name in the public's minds.
It just means even more to me that we're continuing to share her face and get her name out there.
As a father of missing children, Father, we're praying that you'll show yourself.
But this event was about more than just remembering Summer.
Tonight's event was just about gathering support from the community to help pray and support the families of missing children.
In the sanctuary, crosses filled with the faces of missing children, both close to home and across the country. Each person in the audience taking the time to remember all of those missing. Also among the audience, family members of missing Kingsport women Layla Santinello and Holland Snap. Lane says it was special to have them there.
I know that they were so happy to be able to come and just feel encouraged, because it's hard sometimes when you have other people praying for you, it just fills in that gap.
Lane says she hopes to keep Summer's name out there in hopes of her being found. In Kingsport, Maddie Candus, News Channel 11.
A reminder tonight that there is still an active Amber Alert for Summer Wells. You can see all of our previous coverage on Summer Wells over on our website on WJHL.com.
120 agencies from 6 states, more than 1,100 searchers, nearly 14,000 man-hours, still no sign of 5-year-old Summer Wells.
It has been a very difficult 13 days for so many since Summer was last seen, according to her family, at her home in Hawkins County. Tonight, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation wants to find a potential witness. The agency said a pickup truck was driving near Summer's home in the Beach Creek area close to the time she disappeared. The truck, described by TBI as a 1998 to 2000 maroon or red Toyota Tacoma with a full bed ladder truck. Investigators said they want to talk with the driver, and they stressed the driver's not a suspect.
News Channel 11's Ansley Daniel joins us live from the Beach Creek community. Now, Ansley, you spoke with one of the searchers today. How did he say the crews are faring?
Josh and Sarah, the rescuer I spoke with earlier today told me that this has been one of the hardest few weeks for them. He says that the news that the crews are starting to scale back was tough to hear, but he says that he is hoping more information comes soon so that they can find Summer. But again, he says that having this scaled back effort was a difficult decision for crews to make.
Most all the searches that I participated in, we have had resolution. There are several cases, though, that I've worked that are heartbreaking because you don't have that resolution.
Jeff Wadley is on the backcountry unit search and rescue for the Great Smoky Mountains National Park.
The search for Summer was a typical rural search here in East Tennessee. High heat, humidity, thick underbrush, steep terrain, rocks, crevices, things like that.
He's been involved with search crews for 43 years and says most of his searches typically don't last more than 2 days.
When a search like this for Summer does not have an immediate resolution, there's all kinds of emotions about that.
As efforts are now being pulled back, those emotions are hitting home.
You question yourself, have I done all I can do, all that sort of thing. But what I've seen in participating in this search is that the search management All the individual searchers from all the different agencies did a tremendous job, but we just don't have that very last page in this mystery novel.
And lessons learned from this search will carry over into the future.
What happens is people who are in search and rescue will end up becoming better searchers because of this search, because they are so determined to find Summer.
The incident commander of search operations assures that even though operations are being scaled back and that search crews might not be as visible, they are doing everything they can and continuing to search for Summer until she is found. Live in the Beach Creek community, Ansley Daniel, News Channel 11.
A lot. I know she didn't walk away from this property by herself or off this yard by her swing. I feel in my heart that somebody has came up here and took her, has lured her away from here. Me and my mother and her were planting flowers. And we went in after we got done washing our hands, and she got a piece of candy from Grandma, and she wanted to go back over and see her brothers. And I said, okay, and I walked her all the way over to the porch. And I watched her walk into the kitchen where the boys were watching TV. And I told the boys, I said, watch Summer, I'll be back. And within 2 minutes I came back. And I asked the boys where their sister was, and they said, she went downstairs, Mom, to play with her toys in the playroom. I said, okay. And I yelled downstairs for her a couple times, and I didn't get no answer, which was unusual because usually she always answers me. And so I went down there to check, and she was nowhere in sight. She was just gone. I don't go on walks around here or runs because I'm scared of the bears and snakes and even the coyotes that are around here. Well, whoever has my daughter, I pray and hope that they have not harmed her and they bring her back to us safe and sound.
Just go to the FBI, the police, and clear it up. I mean, I don't know, it seems kind of elusive.
It's really strange that I've never seen this truck, and I've never heard of it until just recently. But I wish they would come forward and explain themselves. I mean, if you're not a suspect, at least come forward and say what you've seen. She was a tomboy. I shaved my head. She wanted to have her head shaved like me and the boys did.
She tried to shave her head
She tried
in
to
the
shave her
back
head
and make it, I think you can see it in some of the pictures, and it was getting out of control. So we decided to shave her head off and let it grow back long, and she shaved her head so she wouldn't feel bad, and but it didn't bother her at this point. Well, I knew right away that she was abducted. You know, I knew that right away, and that's what I told them from the beginning. But they have to go through their, I forget the word.
Investigation.
They have to do one step at a time, I guess. But I'm sorry that they had to spend so many man hours in these woods and everything. I've seen them limping and everything else, and I feel for them. But I just wish there was a way that neighbors could search neighbors' houses, and then if they're not willing, get a search warrant or something. But there's just no way you can search every single house, in the eastern United States or whatever. But I wish there was a way. Just thankful for the person or persons that's doing that, out of love, and trying to get information and trying to get her found. And we thank them from the bottom of our hearts.
That means a lot.
And we thank everybody who's trying so hard and praying so hard. And she's an awesome young lady, and we just want her back. But, yeah, there's always going to be haters, and it's always going to be that way in this world. And we just want to focus on the good friends and Christian people that are trying to help us and praying for us and praying for Summer. And we thank them from the bottom of our hearts. And that's the kind of people we try to relate with and socialize with. So we don't know anything about, you know, no red truck, or we hardly know many of our neighbors. I mean, because we just try to be around good people. I mean, and we do have good people in this area. We found out since this has all happened. We got some real good neighbors and good folks everywhere. But
the most important thing is to bring Summer home safe. I'm sorry that you feel this way about us, but we love our children with everything we have. We've never went without, thanks to Summer's daddy and my husband. He's always provided for us and has worked as much as he could and can and still is. And I'm sorry that you guys feel that way, but that's my baby, and nobody would ever treat her like that as long as I was around, ever.
She loves to dance. She would always want me. She says, "Daddy, hold my hand so I can twirl," and she would just like to twirl and twirl and twirl until my arm got tired, you know. But and you know, I put out there that one of Summer's favorite songs was Godzilla, and they say, you know, and they're jumping all over me about past tense was, you know. Well, I'm sorry about that. It's just.
She also liked the song by New Breed. It was called House, My House. She sung that a lot of times when I play it on the TV. She loved to dance.
She liked to think of herself as a princess, and you know, and all that, like all young girls do. And
she loved Frozen. She loved to be that Elsa, and
I think she really loved to be in church because she felt a lot of love there. And I think you can't explain what that love is, but you feel it and you know it, you know, when you're young. And she felt that there, and she loved everybody in that church. Or she loves everybody in that church. I should rephrase that, because they'll tear that apart as past tense, and I apologize again for that. I hope she gets to come home, you know, and I hope she gets to be with our church family again.
Our best friend in that church was Robin. She loved her to death.
Yeah, she looked up to women that were...
She come to that church, she went looking for Robin. That was her favorite person.
Any woman that was professional, that
was pretty, beautiful.
She looked up to those kind of women. She, you know, they were, the word I'm looking for, I can't think of it, but she looked up to them. She'd give them a run for their money every day. She'd give them a run for their money. And there was times, you know, we'd be, you know, at our boys, like, don't do this and don't do that. And next thing you know, a stick would come up and just whop them, you know, and it'd be like, Summer, don't do that.
Summer was the boss of the family.
Yeah,
she
typical girl.
When they get out of line, she'd put them in line.
She'd do her best.
She loved to play in the mud and the water and swing on her swing and enjoy dirt.
When I run the lawnmower around, she would run behind me. When the boys run their bikes around, she, as fast as that little bike could go, she would be behind them running and keeping up with them, no problem. You know, she loved to run. She just loved to run, and she could pull herself up on that swing, her full body weight with her two hands, and she could do that. None of the other boys can do that, but she can.
Was she in school yet?
No, she's going this year.
This was supposed to be her first year.
She's been, we did all the, what?
I took care of everything.
Yeah.
I had her already took on all of her shots and registered in the school ready for this year.
Yeah. I just never expected for anyone to get a hold of my heart like she has, because I try to guard my heart as much as I can, but she holds my heart in her little hands, and I love her with all my heart. I'd do anything to have her back.
little girl.
If there's any way, if you can find it in your heart to please release her somehow. I don't know how you might do that. I mean, 'cause you're probably scared of going to prison for the rest of your life and everything else, I'm sure. But please find it in your heart, have mercy, and find a way of letting her go and where we can get her back. And just please have mercy on her and, you know, and us and her brothers. And she's such a loving, good spirit. Please don't hurt her. Please let her come home. My biggest fear is, you know, her being tormented or locked in a dungeon or basement or something, because she loved to be outside all the time. And that was her, unfortunately, her downfall. 'Cause a lot of times the boys would be inside and we'd be like, "Where's Summer? Why'd you leave her out there alone? You know, go get Summer now." You know, and that's happened over and over again. And we'd come out and she would always be close by, but we was always coming up. She had to be outside. She was an outdoor person. And
she loved to be outside.
Yeah, and I'm so afraid that she's locked away. She's such a loving heart and everything, and I'm afraid that she won't be able to, you know, locked away where she can't be outside or play with a puppy or anything, love nature, you know, and that's my greatest fear, that she's not able to do any of these things anymore, or that she could possibly, you know, I don't want to think she's dead, but it's a possibility. I don't want to address all the negativity. I just want to focus on the positive, because it's so easy to get, you know, lost in that negativity and stuff, and it's just not worth it. So I appreciate y'all, the good things you say, and your prayers. That's awesome.
When my sister went missing, I was in between Arkansas and Tennessee. I don't know all of what happened or what did happen, but I hope that they find her too and bring her home safely too.
Well, yeah, there's nothing. I mean, she disappeared without a trace. They haven't found anything, haven't found a body, nothing. And you know, when you see cases like that, that's why I lose hope on Summer. You know, I want to keep hope, but sometimes I lose hope.
Lose it.
And I think, well, maybe we won't never see her again, you know. So I start thinking in past tense, sorry. But I'm trying to keep hope up. I'm trying to keep my prayers up and all that.
News Channel 11's Ansley Daniels been covering the story since the beginning.
Yeah, Ansley, dozens of agencies, organizations have pitched in and volunteered in the search for Summer. Now with these efforts scaled back, what do we know about this search and where it goes from here?
Josh and Sarah, that's a really hard question to answer, but budget season is underway for a struggling Hawkins County, and that is for sure. And commissioners are now working to figure out how to help fund the sheriff's department and the other rescue squads that were there on the scene working to find the little girl.
And this is a disaster, right? So a little girl went missing. This is as big of a disaster as you can imagine for us, really.
As all eyes were on Hawkins County during the ground search for Summer Wells, commissioners want to be sure those departments are funded.
A search of this scale and of this magnitude, I felt like probably drained some resources for the rescue agencies that are volunteer and for our sheriff's department. You know, I know there are literally thousands of man hours spent out there, and it's not over. And you know what that looks like for our budget.
Last week, Sheriff Ronnie Lawson said he didn't have exact totals for how much the search for the missing girl cost his department.
My patrol division, that's the officers goes out and answer the calls and stuff, and my school resource officers, just those two groups alone, they accumulated over 3,200 hours. That's not counting the rest of the division.
The search also highlighted issues with the communication system in the county and depleted funds and resources from other agencies, including rescue squads and those that are volunteer-based.
It's going to cost a lot of money, and the thing is that if it's going to cost this amount of money, we just have to figure out how to resource the Sheriff's Department. It's not a matter of, you know, it's going to cost this much money, so we can't continue the search. That's not part of the conversation at all. This conversation is more about how can we resource our first responders to be able to do the job we paid them to do.
Hawkins County is heading into this fiscal year on a $2 million deficit and plans to make up the money from their reserve fund. While money can be moved around, Commissioner Hannah Weiniger wonders what other costs the counties could have if funding had to be cut back for those agencies.
If these rescue organizations fold in the county, I mean, we have to have these organizations, we have to have these type of things. So if they fold, what does that look like, and what would that cost the county to pay, you know, county employees to do these kind of services?
This upcoming year's budget for the county will go to the full commission at the end of this month. Now, it's important to make it clear that this is only the total for the Sheriff's Department's entire operating cost, not necessarily individual investigations. Now, both Commissioner Weiniger and Roach say that they expect the commission to move money around as needed when the Sheriff's Department and these other agencies come to them with the totals from this search.
Ansley, thanks. And investigators are still looking for the driver of a red Toyota Tacoma, a full bed ladder rack in the back. We're told the TBI stresses that the driver is a potential witness, not a suspect. To submit a tip, call the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation at 1-800-TBI-FIND or send your tip through an email to tipstotbi@tn.gov. As there are two aspects to this case, the search for Summer and the investigation into how she disappeared. Part of that investigation has involved looking into the family. As we reported earlier this week, Summer's father, Donald Wells, was arrested last year for domestic assault. News Channel 11's Amy Cochran has been looking into Wells' criminal past and found he has also previously faced charges in other states.
Josh and Sarah, I spent the day looking into Donald Wells' previous charges in Utah, Arkansas, and Tennessee. The Arkansas charges include possession of controlled counterfeit substances without a prescription and burglary. Those charges occurred between 2006 and 2007. In Utah, Wells faced multiple charges from 1990 to 2001. He pled guilty to attempted aggravated assault, interfering with a public servant, forgery, burglary of a dwelling, and theft. When we asked Wells earlier this week if he would like to address his criminal history, he said, quote, "It's in the past and we'll leave it there," end quote. We also asked Wells about charges in Hawkins County. According to police reports, Wells was arrested in October 2020 and charged with domestic assault, possession of a handgun while under the influence, and unlawful possession of a weapon, following an incident with Summer's mother.
We worked it out. She's apologized to me. She's went to the district attorneys. She even talked to the judge and told him that she made a serious mistake, and you know, and that's the end of it.
This past April, Wells pled guilty to possession of a handgun while under the influence. The other charges were dismissed. Josh and Sarah?
Amy, thanks. And we want to point out here that TBI says the Wells family has been very cooperative with investigators throughout their search efforts.
Friends of the family tell us they're doing their best to keep their spirits up on day 9.
Jeremy, thank you. The Amber Alert for Summer Wells remains active, and this weekend will mark 3 years since she disappeared from her Hawkins County home. Wells was 5 years old at the time, and still a case that fascinates the community, many wondering where she could be. In a post on X this morning, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation says they have worked about 6,500 leads since 2021. An age-progressed photo of Wells was released around this time last year, and tomorrow a group will meet to honor her at Warriors Path State Park Shelter 5. That's happening at 4 p.m. For all coverage surrounding the case up to this point and recent interviews with the Wells family, head to WJHL.com and click the Search for Summer Wells tab.
Today, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation upgraded the search for a missing 5-year-old from an endangered child alert to the most serious Amber Alert. And that's where we begin News Channel 11 at 5 o'clock. I'm Josh Smith.
I'm Sarah Diamond. Take a look at the little girl law enforcement teams are trying to find. It's 5-year-old Summer Wells of Hawkins County. TBI issued an Amber Alert for her just after 11 o'clock this morning. She was last seen wearing gray pants and a pink shirt. A couple of changes in her description from last night. TBI originally said she was around 4 feet tall. They now say she's about 3 feet tall. Also, they say she has shorter hair than in pictures that they released last night.
Agents from both the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation and the Federal Bureau of Investigation have joined local investigators, I should say, as they search for the little girl. Summer was last seen near her home in the area of Ben Hill Road and Beach Creek Road last night. That's in the southeastern part of Hawkins County. Ainsley Daniels live near the scene of the search, and the sheriff's office as well as the TBI had a news conference about an hour ago. Ainsley, what did we find out?
Josh and Sarah, search crews are heading into hour 23 of the search for missing 5-year-old Summer Wells here in Hawkins County. Now, I am stationed at a church here in Sullivan County, and all authorities and crews are actually at a command center about 3 miles away from here. Now, authorities did just tell us that they don't have too much of an update on where she could be, but did say that this search has been tough and rigorous. Now, as I mentioned before, the Hawkins County Sheriff just told us that 19 agencies, including the TBI and FBI, are assisting in the search, as well as other rescue crews from around the area, along with air crews. The search command center is set up at Mount Carmel Free Will Baptist Church, just across the line in Hawkins County. But the sheriff and TBI assured that they do not need any more people to assist in the search that was upgraded from an endangered child alert to an Amber Alert earlier today.
There was the initial search. We acted, and the sheriff's office acted on the information available at the time. And as we learned more in the first several hours into today, it led us to issue an Amber Alert.
The TBI could not share what led to that change, but did provide more photos with the child's current hairstyle. We asked the authorities if they believe foul play was involved at all, and this is what the sheriff told us.
The family are cooperating, and it's really too early to tell. We're still basically just gathering information, and we're in the search mode right now.
The sheriff and the TBI did ask everyone here in the Beach Creek community, as well as the Ben Hill Road area, to check any security footage if they have it, just to see if they saw little Summer walking around late last night or even early into today. They also have asked for people in the area to check any crawl spaces, as well as barns or any places that might seem like a hiding place to a child, just to see if she could be there. Live in Sullivan County, Ainsley Daniel, News Channel 11.
Here's another look at 5-year-old Summer Wells. Anyone who has information about her, if you see her, call 911 right away or direct to the TBI. It's 1-800-TBI-FIND. You can email the TBI at tbi@tn.gov, or it's tips to tbi@tn.gov. All that contact information is posted on WJHL.com.
There have been some questions raised in regards to distributing the reward fund. We have been advised to and will be paying the reward fund money to the court and ask them to determine the proper resolution of the matter. Upon advice of counsel, that is all I can say at this time.
What court is that?
This is the statement that I'm making. At this time, it will be turned over to the court and ask them to determine the proper resolution of the matter.
What's the amount of the money at this point?
At this point, I don't have the most accurate, up-to-date account. The money is still in the account at this time, and that's all I have. Thank you.
But I'm just confused here, Tim. What court are we talking about? Is there a legal matter here?
At this point, that's all I can say.
Tonight, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children is helping to spread the word about the search for Summer Wells. I'm Sarah Diamond.
And I'm Josh Smith. The agency says Summer's case is the only active Amber Alert in the nation tonight. And here's the latest on the investigation. It's day 8 of the search for the 5-year-old from the Beach Creek community of Hawkins County. Today marked the first full day of what the incident commander said would be more focused and more specialized searches.
For the second straight day, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation did not hold a scheduled media briefing, saying there were no significant developments to share. But TBI did say that as of today, they have received 304 tips in the case, none of which have led to Summer.
Authorities also today confirmed that Summer's aunt is missing and has been since 2009. Her mother's sister, Rosemarie Bly, is considered missing and endangered by the FBI. By the FBI. And TBI told us they're aware of the case but have no evidence of a connection to Summer's disappearance. So far, Tennessee is the only state to have actually issued an Amber Alert.
John Janko learned more about how this case is being handled when it comes to alerting the public.
Right now, Tennessee is still the only state that has issued an Amber Alert for summer wells. But thanks to efforts by organizations like the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, the reach of the search goes much further. A week ago today, TBI decided to issue the Amber Alert for summer wells using government resources, including Federal Emergency Management Agency infrastructure, triggering the alerts on TV and on your phone. Whether more states issue Amber Alerts for summer depends on TBI, according to National Center for Missing and Exploited Children Executive Director Alan Nanavati.
The state of Tennessee, the coordinator would reach out to a neighboring state if there's information through the investigation to believe that the missing child or the abductor with a missing child is traveling interstate.
In the private sector, the center works with multiple partners to increase the alert's impact.
The purpose of the Amber Alert is really to reach that mobile public, so those individuals that are traveling.
You've likely seen billboards like these across the Tri-Cities.
I know that it was over in Nashville. It was running in all of our digitals in the state initially. Now we've chosen here locally to keep it up longer than the 72 hours, so it's still running here at least through tomorrow.
The center is able to send official photos and information to these billboards through partnerships with outdoor advertisers. Nanavati says Wells is the only active Amber Alert in the country right now, so much of the center's resources are focused on this case. Nanavati tells me the center also works with the trucking industry, social media companies, and other entities to amplify Amber Alerts. In the Beech Creek community, John Janko, News Channel 11.
Today, Churchill Rescue Squad announced the reward fund for missing 5-year-old Summer Wells of Hawkins County is now nearly $74,000. Those wishing to donate to the reward fund can do so directly at Civis Bank branches in Churchill, Rogersville, and Sneedville, or by mailing a check to the Churchill Rescue Squad. Wells disappeared from her home in the Beech Creek area back in June. The Amber Alert for Summer Wells remains active. If you have any credible information that can help investigators, call the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation at 1-800-TBI-FIND.
It has now been 3 years since a Hawkins County 5-year-old went missing from her home. It's our top story tonight. Thank you for joining us. I'm Catherine Simpson. 3 years later, and the Amber Alert for Summer Wells is still active. News Channel 11's Maddie Cottisbody attended an event marking Summer's disappearance. She tells us why her family is still attending events like this one 3 years later.
On 15th, 2021, 5-year-old Summer Wells went missing. Now, 3 years later, the community is doing all that they can to keep her name in the public's mind.
Summer's father, Don Wells, says he keeps attending events like this one called Summer's Day in the hopes of connecting with his missing daughter.
Summer might see this one day and hear her name and be like, wait, that's my name. They're talking about me.
For the last 3 years, community members have gathered on the anniversary of Summer's disappearance.
We had decided to hold something that was not really a prayer vigil, but we wanted to kind of focus it on child safety and awareness for Summer. So it kind of has a double purpose.
The event featured activities such as rock painting and offered information on staying safe this summer. Organizer Skylar Park says the goal is to help those who might find themselves in the same situation.
It's a situation that nobody sees coming and nobody wants to be in, but if it does happen, it helps to know what to expect and to be prepared. So we really wanted to focus on activities that families do during the summer and ways to stay safe while doing those.
The event also honored other missing in Tennessee. Park says she wanted this event to help those with missing family members to feel that they weren't alone. Don Wells says he's thankful.
We think a lot about Summer, or I wish she could be here with us. I don't know. I'm glad that people are doing this for me and my wife. It helps us a lot.
The event ended with a butterfly release at 7:03, the time when the first officer arrived on the day of Summer's disappearance. While remembering her is important, the Wells family says they want to see her come home.
We appreciate the community and those, people that are supporting us, and they're keeping their eyes and ears open for Summer.
Anyone with information regarding Summer's disappearance are asked to call 1-800-TBI-FIND. In Kingsport, Maddie Cottisbody, News Channel 11.
Also tonight, new information on Don Wells' violation of probation arrest.
He was initially arrested Saturday on several charges, including driving under the influence. While in court yesterday for those charges, Wells was arrested for violating his probation. The Hawkins County General Sessions Court said Wells was on probation after he was convicted for, quote, possessing a handgun by an intoxicated person. This was back in April of this year. Wells was released on his own recognizance. Another top story tonight, new questions about the status of a big reward fund to find Summer Wells.
Tonight it appears the money donated as an incentive to find the child who's been missing for more than a year is for some reason going to be taken up in court.
And last week, June 15th, that marked 1 year since the Hawkins County girl was reported missing. It was also the self-imposed deadline for the rescue squad to do something with the reward fund. That fund, operated by the Churchill Rescue Squad, totaling more than $74,000. All that money given from our last update, according to the January update.
Tonight, the Rescue Squad Board of Directors met to discuss the future of that money. We've learned more information will be contained in some sort of a legal proceeding that's set to be filed next week.
Well, John Janko has the latest on what we do know tonight about this developing story.
Tonight, the Churchill Rescue Squad Board of Directors met in a closed session regarding the Summer Wells Reward Fund. We staked out the meeting waiting for Captain Tim Coop to emerge. When he did, he provided us with the following statement.
There have been some questions raised in regards to distributing the reward fund. We have been advised to and will be paying the reward fund money to the court and ask them to determine the proper resolution of the matter. Upon advice of counsel, that is all I can say at this time.
Coop did not clarify what exactly would be decided in court or which court would be deciding the fate of the fund. He also didn't say who represents the rescue squad as legal counsel. He could confirm the rescue squad is still in possession of the fund, but could not tell us the amount.
Is there a legal matter here?
At this point, that's all I can say.
With the reward fund's future uncertain, the Wells family media manager provided News Channel 11 a statement on behalf of Don Wells. Quote, "This is important to keep the reward fund. This is our daughter. People gave money for Summer to help. The case is still very active. Don't take this from her." Don Wells had this to say back in October when the reward fund was originally set to expire.
I just don't feel that that's right, that they're just going to give up on her in a couple more months. We don't feel that it's right, and a lot of people don't feel that it's right. And we wish we could change it or do something about it.
Here's what we do know. The last update we received on the fund had the amount at almost $74,000 in January. Two donations of $25,000 and $10,000 make up a large portion of the fund. The fund was set to expire last December, but was extended in October to June 15th of last week. News Channel 11 learned that a Fall Branch business owner named T.R. Ward provided the $10,000 donation. Ward asked to remain off camera, but said the rescue squad messaged him asking if he wanted the check back as the reward fund expired June 15th. If Summer was not found or recovered by that deadline, the rescue squad initially said the money would be donated to the Children's Advocacy Center for Hawkins County. We don't know the status of that donation at this time. In Church Hill, John Jenko, News Channel 11.
Sheriff Ronnie Lawson told us tonight the law enforcement investigation of Summer's disappearance has been and remains separate from the reward fund. We've reached out to the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation about the reward. We have not heard back.
Reaction tonight from a Tri-Cities doctor and an education leader about the impact of removing Juul vape products off of store shelves. Juul, a major e-cigarette company, has been ordered by the FDA to pull its product out of the U.S.
Well, new motions have been filed in the Summer Wells Reward Fund lawsuit. 6-year-old Summer Wells was reported missing from her Beach Creek home in Hawkins County in June of 2021. There has been an active Amber Alert ever since. The Churchill Rescue Squad was in charge of a massive ground search in the days following her reported disappearance. The rescue squad also created a reward fund that was set to expire and go to the Children's Advocacy Center that covers the area in which Summer lives. It's now the center of a civil lawsuit. Since our last update, the Children's Advocacy Center has filed an answer asking the judge to make them the beneficiary of the $40,000+ fund. Summer's parents, Don and Candus Wells, have been added as defendants. Ansley Daniel is in the studio to help bring us up to speed and break down what exactly this means. Ansley?
Well, Sarah, the case over this reward fund has been confusing to say the least. Now, the Church Home Rescue Squad and the Children's Advocacy Center are just hoping that this can be settled and the focus can be put back on fighting summer wells. The Churchill Rescue Squad filed a lawsuit on June 30th asking for the judge to determine who gets the $40,305 and some change of the Summer Wells Reward Fund.
If it wasn't used for that specific purpose, that they'll get a refund. Or did they understand if it's not used for that specific purpose, it's going to go to CAC? I think that's the issue to determine.
Joseph McMurray is a Kingsport attorney not affiliated with the case. He says in order for the judge to have a valid ruling, all parties who could have a claim on the money in the fund must be notified.
You have to comply with one thing, and that is doing your due diligence. If they do have an address, telephone number, or any information on some of these donors, they would have to exhaust reasonable efforts in order to locate these individuals.
The only defendant named in the lawsuit to file an official response is the Children's Advocacy Center, asking the judge to grant them the money. The Rescue Squad's attorney also filed a motion adding Don and Candus Wells as defendants in the case.
I can only speculate, but after contemplating the lawsuits and thinking it over, potentially, I suppose some of the parties actually considered that maybe Don Wells or Candus Wells has some kind of interest in this money.
The Wells declined an interview with News Channel 11, but a spokesperson did release a statement saying in part, the Wells have remained separate from the reward fund from the beginning. Their only request in the past was that the timeline be extended. At this time, they prefer to have nothing to do with the issue and did not request nor give any affirmation that they would like to be a defendant or plaintiff in any matter concerning the Summer Wells Reward Fund. However, they will comply to the court document if the matter is not resolved. So, what's next? Alan Coop, the attorney for the Churchill Rescue Squad, declined to comment on the suit, but he did send a letter saying that a notice of service by publication will appear in the Rogersville Review.
After this runs and after 30 days has expired, the judge would be able to adjudicate the rights of these individuals. Whether or not it's a fake name, whether or not they read the paper, they have checked all the boxes in order for the judge to be in a place where he can make a ruling and it would actually stick.
That letter from the Rescue Squad's attorney said that they hope this will be placed on the court's docket in February of 2023. The Children's Advocacy Center's director declined to comment since this involves pending litigation.
Ansley, thanks. An Amber Alert remains active for Summer Wells. If you have credible information that could help find her, call 1-800-TBI-FIND.
First at 5 o'clock, more legal troubles wasn't the plan, leaving Hollywood after filming that Dr. Phil show you just saw here on News Channel 11. But not long after their return to Northeast Tennessee, missing 5-year-old Summer Wells' father was arrested on suspicion for DUI.
Then again in court the following Monday for that being a violation of his probation. News Channel 11 Ansley Daniel was able to ask him how the ongoing attention will help find his daughter. She's live in the studio tonight. Ansley?
Josh and Sarah, this was Don's first on-camera interview since going to LA and coming back home, and since those charges on him have mounted. Now, he told me, though, that he knows he's no media darling.
I have lost control. I've done stupid things, and for that I apologize.
Confessions of a father who says he has struggled emotionally since the disappearance of his daughter. And that's not all.
We've had problems with threats and violence and all kind of things like that, and it's been dangerous.
It's clear how many think of him.
It's been dangerous not only for us, but for everybody that we're involved with.
Summer's older brothers were taken by Child Protective Services back in July. A deeper strain now on their parents' marriage.
Me and her have had a lot of problems because of this. And we're both just down and miss our kids. And don't exactly know how to deal with all that.
But they stand together in what they think happened to their only daughter.
Me and Candus know for a fact that Summer was abducted. We know that, but...
Can you share with me why you know for a fact or how you know?
Well, the reason that I know is because I know my wife, and I know what kind of emotions and the heartbreak that she's been going through, and the way everything happened when she called me.
Have police given you any information on that, or anything pointing to that?
No.
That's unheard of.
Hawkins County Sheriff Ronnie Lawson says they have found no evidence Summer was abducted.
Why is it our property is any different than any other property where kids are abducted? Why? What makes them think, oh, there's no way an abduction can happen here, but everywhere else it's probable, but not this property?
Don Wells told us he could not speak about his recent charges based on the advice of his attorney. And just a reminder, though, there has been a gag order placed on the case involving the Child Protective Services that have their older sons.
Some bad person is out here, but we have no idea that the FBI and the police have covered every single base, everything that anybody can think of they've covered.
It's been 1 week since Donald Wells was rearrested in court following his DUI arrest last weekend. Today he spoke with News Channel 11 for the first time since. He told us he has obtained a lawyer and he could not speak about what happened. And although the family's website, findsummerwells.com, was created in conjunction with the Wells family official YouTube channel, he addressed the negativity surrounding other YouTube content creators and some of his appearances on different videos and channels.
I have to stay off the YouTube thing, or be very careful about if I do anything on YouTube from now on, because, you know, I have lost control. I've done stupid things, and for that I apologize. I'm just trying to be right, trying to focus on our church and the things that our family, you know, that we so much enjoyed together.
This Thursday, we'll have in-depth coverage throughout the day about the search for Summer Wells. Her parents will be appearing on the Dr. Phil show that day on News Channel 11.
New tonight at 11, Don Wells, the father of Summer Wells, the Hawkins County girl who went missing more than a year ago, has learned when he'll be released from jail. He's currently serving jail time for a DUI arrest back in October. Tonight, his media manager says he had his 6-month hearing, and the judge decided that Don Wells will be released October 30th without having to complete rehabilitation. His original sentencing determined he would need to complete an alcohol rehab program, but again, a judge decided he would not need to complete that. Tonight, Don Wells also wrote a new letter to his daughter Summer. It was released as a YouTube video. You can find both on WJHL.com.
It's 37 days since Hawkins County 5-year-old Summer Wells was reported missing by her family.
She's still missing, and investigators have not reported any significant updates in that search. Family members reported Summer Wells missing the evening of June 15th. Since then, search efforts by dozens of agencies and investigators have not led them to her.
News Channel 11's Bianca Murray found out that amid the search for Summer, communication was more of a problem than originally thought. Bianca?
Josh and Sarah, as you know, Hawkins County has had its issues with public safety communications infrastructure for over a year and a half now, and it seems there are still hiccups that need to be addressed before their radio problems can be fixed. County commissioners and public safety workers say they wish they could have sorted all this out before Summer went missing.
It has been a problem before Summer Wells incident has happened here. So we just need to get things in order and get it fixed and be done with it.
The Hawkins County Emergency Management Agency director says there's a plan in place.
My primary goal is to have the public safety agencies of this county to have adequate communications. The cost of that's irrelevant as far as my concern.
Commissioners believe the concern lies with them.
Why we need 600 radios? I need to know that so I can tell the taxpayers, hey, they need so many for sheriff's office, so many for EMS, so many for rescue squad, so many for fire department. I mean, we need to know numbers, not just a number thrown in a pot.
According to the EMA director, those numbers were detailed in June 2020. Searchers in the Summer Wells case say they hope some issues are addressed.
Some of the radios have some frequencies, some of them don't. So that's an issue that could be resolved or could be addressed in the future radio system, whatever the county decides to pursue.
In the end, the hope for new radios goes hand in hand with another hope in Hawkins County.
We all are praying for her safety to come home. We pray for all the public safety workers that's there searching.
Commissioner Harrell says the County Commission will meet Monday to discuss the budget, which could lead to some answers regarding the public safety communications issues in Hawkins County.
Bianca, thanks. Now, if you have information to help find Summer Wells, call 1-800-TBI-FIND or email tipstotbi@tn.gov. Communication issues in Hawkins County became the focus at a public safety committee meeting earlier today, the focal point being what happened during the initial search for Summer Wells. Leaders of rescue squads and other first responders explained in more detail just how difficult the problems with the radio system were and explained how much of a risk it could have been had more equipment not been brought in.
Team of Unsolved County EMA provided us with a cache of approximately 50 radios to hand out to the responders that were on scene. If it hadn't been for them providing those radios, we would have been in a mess in Beach Creek. We would have had no communications with all these people.
I don't want to go to one of my members, I'm sure Hawkins County Sheriff's Department, Rescue Squad, EMS, you guys don't want to have to make that door knock on a phone going, your child's father, mother, brother, sister, they're not coming home because of lack of communication and safety for these guys that are doing this as a volunteer for free.
Commissioners on the committee pushed back as the county has had several meetings over funding and fixing the system, approving $425,000 for an analog system and recently receiving a $250,000 emergency community development block grant, with the state just approving it June 10th. The purchase order for the system was put out the following day, just days after Summer went missing.
We can't do nothing for radios until we see a resolution or something come in front of us to decide on what to do on the radios. And I mean, I don't know how come we always get a finger pointed at us. I mean, we have done everything that we're supposed to do that we've seen in front of us so far.
A new resolution would need to be brought forth to upgrade the analog system to digital and tie the site all together, as well as buy field radios for all of the first responders. The ground search for Summer Wells is expanding this weekend as a search and rescue group from the Midwest is coming back to the area to once again look for the missing 5-year-old.
The company is called EquiSearch Midwest. They're based out of Ohio and also Texas. News Channel 11's Ansley Daniel spoke with the director, who says he's bringing fresh eyes and people in the hopes of finding Summer.
Although the area around Ben Hill Road in the Beach Creek community seems much quieter than what it did this time last month, authorities and search crews assure that people are still out looking for Summer Wells, including one group that's making another trip back this weekend.
Why not keep the bus rolling, as I say, and go out a little bit further, some fresh eyes. Some fresh people. Let's get this done.
David Rader is the director for EquiSearch Midwest, a volunteer-based nonprofit search group out of Texas and Ohio. He reached out to the incident commander of search operations to ask if they could come back.
There's some things that we would like to go over that was just kind of bothering us as far as areas being searched and maybe going out a little bit further. So I reached out to him.
Captain Tim Coop is still in charge of the search efforts on the ground for Summer Wells. He wasn't available for an interview today, but told us, quote, they, along with several other teams, have been so outpouring with support and wanting to help out. I decided to have them come back and assist with some areas and search these as a combination decision by both agencies.
We have their blessing. They trust us enough to do what we do. And hopefully we'll have success.
Rader stresses the importance of the public not being involved in the search and not disclosing exact locations of search crews, not only because of safety due to the terrain, but also because it could hinder the investigation.
We can't have people stating that we were on this road at this specific spot, because then at that point in time when we mark it off that nothing's there, it's a possibility somebody could move her or evidence to that area. And it's already been marked off as search, so we don't go back to it.
That sentiment, something echoed by the agents with the TBI leading the investigation.
There could be a criminal aspect and something happened to her
And in order for us to work that investigation, there are just some things that we're not able to share with the public.
Rader says his group will begin searching at 8 a.m. on Saturday, and they will be going over some areas that they've already looked at, as well as areas even further out. In the Beach Creek community, Ansley Daniel, News Channel 11.
If you have information that can help investigators, call 1-800-TBI-FIND or email the address on your screen. We are nearing 6 weeks since Summer Wells was reported missing from her home in the Beach Creek community of Hawkins County, prompting a statewide Amber Alert and multi-agency search and investigation. That case not only spreading far with agencies from all around this area involved, but also with interest from around the world.
Yeah, Ansley Daniel spoke with the host of the J for Justice podcast, who had Don Wells on the podcast last weekend, where he confirmed how the Department of Children's Services is now involved.
Josh and Sarah, last week we told you the Department of Children's Services was involved in the Summer Wells investigation. Over the weekend, Summer's father, Don, confirmed on the J is for Justice podcast that their other children had been removed from the home.
The rumor is that they were taken out of the home. Were they taken from you guys?
Yeah.
Were they? Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yesterday?
A couple days ago.
Jennifer Youngblood is the host of crime podcast J is for Justice. She has interviewed Wells before and saw rumors circulating on social media that the older children had been removed from the home.
I could tell when he answered the phone that he sounded broken to me. He did not sound like the same Don Wells that I spoke to, you know, the week previous. He didn't sound hopeful. He sounded very depressed. And he confirmed that the boys were in fact taken a couple days prior.
In the almost 10-minute phone interview, Wells explained how the theories and speculation about what happened to his daughter are affecting him.
They come at me and said I had somebody, you know, either posing or said they had the inside scoop with TBI and that they knew that I sold my daughter for drugs. And I flipped out. I flipped out. You know, I believed that stuff. Like I believed it. Then I flipped out. You know, I started drinking and everything else. That's why they took our kids.
Her YouTube channel has 46.5 thousand subscribers, and her interview with Don Wells from Saturday has been viewed more than 41,000 times. But Youngblood says she isn't interested in speaking with anyone but Summer's parents right now.
It makes people who might have beef with these people come out of the woodwork. And then it muddies the waters. It muddies the waters not only for the general public, but for law enforcement.
Youngblood says she will keep discussing the case on her show, but wants to be clear that finding Summer and the facts around what happened remain her focus.
Not facts surrounding, you know, any gossip or drama that people have with Candus or with Don at this point. I think that's totally counterproductive. And I think that we need to keep the focus on that there's a 5-year-old little girl that is missing. And also there's 3 boys that are missing their sister.
News Channel 11 has reached out to both Don Wells and Candus Bly for confirmation and an interview regarding this. We have not yet received a response.
That was Ansley Daniel reporting. As always, if you have any information that could help locate Summer Wells, call TBI. The contact information is on your screen. You can email them as well. TBI asks you only submit credible tips.
As help continues to pour in from all over the Southeast, so do those donations. Yesterday, the Hawkins County Rescue Squad put a halt on donations because they had received so much. But this morning, the community's spirit of giving was still very much alive. Area churches banded together to provide food and drinks to those working this weekend, and they aren't the only ones. People have driven hours to drop off waters, Gatorade, food, and other supplies, just anything to help those who are working day and night to find Summer. One couple drove from Powell, Tennessee to drop off water and has a message for the rescue squads.
Our prayers go out to them, the family, friends, you know, and just pray that each and every one just hold on to Jesus through it all.
Tonight, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation provided its first update in a week in the search for 5-year-old Summer Wells.
That's right. The TBI said they have now about 870 tips received, and today they confirmed the investigation is still active and ongoing. They're looking, we believe, for the driver of a red or maroon Toyota Tacoma pickup truck that was seen in the area of Ben Hill Road the afternoon Summer went missing. TBI said that person's a potential witness as they continue their investigation.
Amy Cockrum has been following the latest on Summer's disappearance and talked with a former investigator about Summer's case.
Josh and Sarah, earlier today I sat down with Deb Richmond. She's a former investigator for the Bristol, Tennessee Police Department. She's dealt with child abuse and sexual abuse cases in her time as an investigator. She says that in a missing child case like this one, odds of finding Summer safe shift as time passes.
As each day passes, it is more alarming that she may not come home safely, but there have been children found.
After almost 30 years as an investigator, Deb Richmond now works for the Branch House, a resource for victims of abuse crimes. Even though she's not an investigator anymore, Richmond has been following the Summer Wells case closely.
If they're not letting information out to the public, it may be, and I'm just saying this from experience, it may be because they have some good leads that they can't afford to for the public to be involved in.
Richmond says she's investigated many abduction cases where children were taken by family members, but she says stranger abductions are rare.
The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children is a great help.
Amber Alert is one tool, as I mentioned, in those very critical cases. It's used, alerts are issued about 200 times a year, but as I said, the National Center sees reporting of children up to 30,000 cases a year.
There's no doubt in my mind that they are working night and day and thinking of all kinds of different ways to get this solved and to bring her home safely.
Richmond tells me from her experience, she knows that the investigators on Summer's case right now are experiencing many sleepless nights as they work tirelessly to bring her home. Sarah?
Amy, thanks. TBI says the smallest detail could prove to be beneficial to this investigation. If you have any credible information that could lead to locating Summer Wells, call TBI at 1-800-TBI-FIND or email tips@tbi.tn.gov. In the past 3 days, deputies have arrested the father of missing 5-year-old Summer Wells twice, the most recent being today while he was in court.
Don Wells was initially arrested Saturday on several charges, including driving under the influence. During an arraignment this morning, the judge appointed Wells a public defender and reset the hearing to February.
While in court, Wells was arrested for violation of probation. He was released on his own recognizance, meaning he did not post bail money, but pledged in writing to appear in court for all upcoming proceedings.
News Channel 11's Ansley Daniel was in court today where Wells told the judge he has been working on his house and, in his words, things for welfare to get his boys back.
Josh and Sarah, Donald Wells did appear for an arraignment here in Rogersville earlier this morning. He was here over those DUI charges from this past weekend, and while he was being arraigned, he was arrested again for violation of probation. We are working to determine what exactly he violated. However, a gag order has been issued on the Child Protective Services case involving he and Candus Bly's older sons. It was issued by juvenile court judge Daniel Boyd, and it reads, all parties to this action are hereby prohibited from discussing this matter or the children with the media or any other non-essential person, entity, and/or uninvolved or disinterred parties or person. Wells confirmed to me back in July that their older sons had been taken by Child Protective Services, but he wouldn't tell me why. I did reach out to the court-appointed attorneys for the Wells family about why a gag order was placed on a juvenile court case, which is normally already kept confidential anyways. I did hear back from one who declined to comment, and I'm still waiting on a response from the other. In Rogersville, Ansley Daniel, News Channel 11.
Both Don Wells and Summer's mother, Candus Bly, are set to appear in a recorded Dr. Phil segment this month and talk about their daughter's disappearance. The show recently released this promo teasing the episode, but didn't give an exact air date. 5-year-old Summer Wells was reported missing by her family from her Hawkins County home June 15th. A Tennessee Bureau of Investigation Amber Alert remains active tonight, and the TBI continues to ask for credible tips. Call 1-800-TBI-FIND or email the address on your screen.
Officials with the TBI say they're looking for the driver of a Toyota pickup truck who was seen in the Beach Creek community either Monday or Tuesday of last week. The pickup is possibly a 1998 or 2000 maroon or red Toyota Tacoma with a full bed ladder rack. They're looking to speak with the driver and want to stress that they are not a suspect but can be a potential witness. Meanwhile, Hawkins County EMA Director Jamie Miller took to social media this evening to announce that they expect a large group of responders to be on site tomorrow morning. They'll be helping in the search, continuing to trek through acres and acres of rough terrain near the home where Summer went missing from on Tuesday night.
Today, the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office issued a statement that the search for Summer Wells is not over. Wells was last seen at her home in June of 2021 when she was only 5 years old. Now, 4 years after her disappearance, the agency said in part, quote, "The Hawkins County Sheriff's Office continues to actively work on this case each day. We are still receiving tips that must be thoroughly vetted and validated," end quote. You can read the full statement from the Sheriff's Office on our website, WJHL.com. First tonight, more than 5 months after an Amber Alert was issued for Hawkins County 5-year-old Summer Wells, teams were back in the Beach Creek community to resume their search efforts.
Yeah, for the first time in months, TBI agents led a large-scale search on the ground and by air in the rural area around Summer's home. Summer was reported missing by her family the evening of June 15th. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation issued an Amber Alert the next day, and it remains active tonight. Emergency personnel from at least 6 states spent weeks scouring that area around the family home with no sign of the girl. Well, today they were back. Months later, dozens of members of search teams returned to the Beach Creek community. The TBI posted these pictures you're seeing here on Twitter earlier today, showing that large-scale search with crews walking and flying above the area.
Bianca Murray joins us now live from the Beach Creek community tonight with more on why TBI and other law enforcement agencies were back in that area today. Bianca?
Well, Josh and Sarah, law enforcement tell us they actually planned to return to the search grounds when they were here last, just to see if they had missed anything in the thick vegetation. Crews from about a dozen agencies returned to Beach Creek to launch their second full-scale official search of the area immediately surrounding the Wells home on Ben Hill Road.
We want to wait until this time of year after the frost and that the leaves are off the trees, we can see better and do a more detailed search, hopefully to find some kind of evidence that would help us find Summer.
Local, state and federal resources were again utilized in today's search. Sheriff Lawson saying they used aircraft, drones, search dogs and ground crews to search every area that they may have missed something when the vegetation was too thick in the summer. I'm told the TBI has received roughly 1,500 tips in the search for Summer. Authorities ask anyone in the Beach Creek area to continue to search their properties and to go over trail camera footage in case any evidence of Summer's whereabouts surfaces. Now, crews are wrapping up their search for the day as the sun sets. We're not sure if they are going to return tomorrow. Live in Beach Creek, Bianca Murray, News Channel 11.
Bianca, thanks. And that Amber Alert for 5-year-old Summer Wells remains active. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation continues to ask for any credible tips to be phoned in at 1-800-TBI-FIND or email them to tipstotbi@tn.gov. Also tonight, search crews returned to Beach Creek today in the search for the missing 5-year-old girl, Summer Wells.
It's the first day of what we've been told is at least 2 days of searching to find Summer. John Janko was there and has the latest tonight on how search crews have been trying to find Summer.
Crews started their day here at Mount Carmel Church in the first on-the-ground search for Summer Wells in months. Tomorrow, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation says they'll be back. As the day wraps up, Summer's father, Don, shared his thoughts.
They had a
plane flying all day and drone flying all day, and the leaves are off the tree so they can see a lot better.
Donald Wells says he got a phone call this morning that the search for his daughter was coming back to Beech Creek. Over 120 officers from a dozen agencies returned to the place where they spent days back in June. This time, the goal's still the same: find some answers in the Summer Wells case.
We're looking for anything that would be evidence that Summer's been in that area.
Crews took the search by ground and air. TBI confirming cadaver dogs were in use today. Lawson says investigators planned this search months ago.
We want to wait until this time of year, after the frost and that the leaves are off the trees, but not have to worry about all the foliage and the briars and things like that. So it makes it a lot better for the searchers.
They covered the same ground they did back in the summer. Lawson says the Wells residence was also searched again. He says he hoped crews could cover a mile radius from the house. Donald Wells says he has not been contacted by authorities today, but appreciated the renewed search effort.
Hopefully we can find some clues as to what happened to Summer.
When the search resumes tomorrow, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation tells me crews will focus on the areas they didn't cover today. In Beech Creek, John Jenko, News Channel 11.
All right, so you're assigned to the traffic unit, but today we're out here with this drone. First off, tell me what this is that we're about to fly.
So this is a Matrice 200.
And so tell me a little bit about what this does before we take off.
Sure. So what we can do with this drone, we can take aerial pictures of specifically crime scenes, crash scenes, search and rescue missions. So if somebody gets lost in the woods and we can't see them, we can put a different camera on, the FLIR camera, and we can actually pick up the heat signatures of persons. And then once we're ready to launch, we just turn it on. We'll bring it up about eye level.
All right.
And then once we start, we can come in closer, we can take it back.
So this right now looks good and ready to go.
It's ready to fly right now.
So with all of the equipment that you have, how long can this drone be up in the air total time?
It's about 30 minutes each set of batteries, easy, an hour and a half. I have taken the drone up as high as 400 feet to test the limits of the software, the DJI software, and it actually will stop us. It will not let us go above 400
So it won't let you go
feet.
any further than 400 feet?
Correct. You know, for us, for what we do, 100, 150 feet up is probably plenty, but it all depends on the terrain that we're trying to see in or see. I'll take pictures of. And I've got it looking at the tire marks right behind me from the air. Which, you know, you can't really see too well how these tire marks are until you get up in the sky, and then we can really see the angle of those tire marks, which is very important for crash scenes. So down here at the bottom, it shows us our height. We're at 111 feet. We're out from where we took off 168 feet.
In a search and rescue operation, what does this do for that operation?
So it would allow us to see from an aerial perspective the area that we're searching. We would have searching units in a line, and they would be going in a systematic pattern. And once we find something of interest that might pop up on the screen, that's when we would start guiding the ground units that are actually searching toward that object or item. So this particular camera, if the scene is not lit well, it wouldn't do a very good job as far as taking the pictures. We would probably have to switch to the FLIR camera. That way we could see the heat signatures of persons or objects that we're looking for.
So we've now switched to the FLIR camera, which detects heat. Now this can help police find something like a car that's still warm or even a person. It's just one more option to give police eyes hundreds of feet in the sky. So it doesn't show, like recently stepped on grass. It doesn't show anything like that, but it only shows the heat.
Correct.
So in a search situation or a situation where maybe a car has been abandoned for a while, or maybe there's, a body that's been there for a long time, could that pick up at all on this?
No, it wouldn't pick up on, because again, it's relying on heat, change in heat. So if a vehicle's been there for a minute, if a body's been there for a little while, it'd be harder to pick that up on the FLIR camera. So as soon as he hits the grass, we should be able to start picking him up on the FLIR.
And I know that this is used in search and rescue operations, But is this also used if you have a criminal that's running on foot through the woods maybe?
Yes. So as you can see, he's walking through the grass. Immediately as soon as he got into the camera range, we started picking up the different heat. You can tell it's a person walking. Obviously a drone is a lot cheaper than a helicopter, operate a helicopter, to fuel a helicopter. So we can put this up a lot faster, and it gives us a different perspective as an investigator to see crime scenes, to watch over crowds, large crowds, such as Fun Fest and things like that. So we can kind of start seeing issues or things rising, and we can start radioing, hey, we're seeing a problem in this area, and start moving officers toward the problem.
Today, the ground search for 5-year-old Summer Wells is not nearly as visible to the public as it was 1 month ago.
But the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office describes the search for the child as active and intense. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation says as of today it's received 970 tips. No credible leads, though, in the search for the missing child.
News Channel 11's Ansley Daniel talked with emergency teams about their role in the search and where it stands now. Ansley?
Josh and Sarah, the incident commander for ground search operations told me that just because the search for Summer Wells was scaled back in June, his team has not quit looking for the missing 5-year-old.
There's been very limited ground searching since the scaling back. Right now, in essence, all we're pretty much going off of, like I said, is anything credible leads, credible information.
Officials announced on June 27th that the ground search for Summer Wells would be on an as-needed basis.
I don't feel like that I made the decision to quit. We haven't quit. It was just we had to scale back, get our bearings back together, allow these people to rest and recuperate, to figure out where can we go next, what can we hit aggressively next, what can we do to find Summer Wells.
Tim Coop led almost 1,200 people from 120 different agencies during the 13-day search in the Beech Creek community. That call to scale back still weighs heavy.
Speaking with command staff, speaking to subject matter experts that were involved from other agencies, out of state, getting together every day. Hey, this is what we've covered. This is the probability. This is putting all these things together to make the decision. I can say made the decision easier, but it didn't. Still, at the end of the day, it was very difficult to make the decision of scaling back operations to only go off of credible leads.
Coop is still working with authorities as tips come in and is in touch with those who assisted from in and out of state. He assures that every crew is ready whenever the call comes.
Even if it's ground that has already been searched 1 to multiple times, be in contact with TBI, Hawkins County Sheriff's Department, if it's something they feel as though needs to be a credible search, needs to go back in and look over things again, we're right there with them.
Captain Coop told me that the search for Summer Wells has impacted his teams physically, mentally, and emotionally. You'll hear more about the help available to them tonight at 6. Josh?
Ansley, thank you. Again, anyone with information about where Summer is, call 1-800-TBI-FIND or email tips@tbi.tn.gov.
Jeremy, thank you. Well, this morning, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation says that misinformation is on the rise surrounding the case of missing Summer Wells.
TBI says they've conducted several search warrants and have collected any potential digital evidence, including with social media accounts.
Adding that they continue working alongside the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office and the FBI to find out what happened to the missing Hawkins County child.
This morning, the fate of Summer Wells still unknown.
Now, WJHL has led coverage as we've taken you across the community in the search for the missing 5-year-old. Ansley Daniel has a look at the timeline of events since Summer disappeared on June 15th.
Summer Wells is missing. She's 5 years old. She's 4 foot tall, blonde hair. Last seen wearing a pink shirt and gray pants.
That late night announcement launched a massive ground search at first light the next day.
With this steep and dangerous terrain, we're also experiencing, as you see behind us, very dense canopy coverage, including very dense ground cover.
Daily media briefings continued for 10 straight days. They ended on June 24th.
While every case is different, this one is definitely outside of the norm.
2 days following the last of those press conferences, the TBI announced they were searching for a late model red Tacoma truck seen in the area around the time Summer went missing. Another 2 days after that, we heard from Summer's mother for the first time. Candus Bly's only daughter had been missing almost 2 weeks.
Me and my mother and her were planting flowers, and we went in after we got done washing our hands, and she got a piece of candy from Grandma, and she wanted to go back over and see her brothers, and I said okay.
The day we heard from the mother was the same day the reward fund was finalized. Authorities also closed the active search. In September, Summer was featured on In Pursuit with John Walsh, and the reward fund surpassed $40,000. On October 4th, Summer's father, Don, wanted to speak with News Channel 11. 111 days had passed since his daughter disappeared.
I just don't feel that that's right, that they're just going to give up on her in a couple more months.
That same day, the Churchill Rescue Squad's reward fund was extended into the following year. Almost a week later, on October 10th, the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office said they were still taking tips and looking for that red truck.
Hi, this is Don and Candus Wells, and this is our YouTube channel.
Almost 4 months after their daughter was reported missing, Don and Candus Wells started a family YouTube channel and a website, findsummerwells.com.
We hope and pray to God we can find our daughter. We can't thank you enough. There's nothing we can do to thank you all enough, but just to thank you and praise our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Social media stardom turned to a social embarrassment 2 weeks later. Don Wells was pulled over on a suspicion of DUI and arrested while live on YouTube. Wells was later charged with a probation violation and released on his own recognizance. In Rogersville, Ansley Daniel, News Channel 11.
Thank you, Ansley. And later on this afternoon, Don Wells and Candus Bly will be speaking about their missing daughter in front of a national TV audience on the Dr. Phil Show. You can watch that right here on News Channel 11 at 4 o'clock. Another episode airs tomorrow as well. And after News Channel 11, we'll continue to take an in-depth look at the search for Summer. In-depth coverage continues through the evening, starting today at 5 o'clock, as we hear more from Don Wells on the problems in his first on-camera interview following his DUI in violation of probation charges, and since Dr. Phil was filmed.
Right now, the Amber Alert still active this morning for Summer Wells and will remain that way until she is found. If you have any credible information about where Summer could be, you are asked to submit tips and leads to the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation.
Good afternoon. I'm Leslie Earhart with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. We had hoped to have good news to share with you by now, but unfortunately, we do not. The search for 5-year-old Summer Wells remains ongoing. Today, teams continue to search the area around Ben Hill Road, and officers and agents continue to follow up on any leads that come in. Many have asked how they can assist with the search. At this time, we are not asking for volunteers to assist. What we are asking is for residents to continue to share photos of Summer and information from credible sources. We know you have a lot of questions about the search area and the process. For that reason, Sheriff Lawson has arranged for Captain Tim Coop to elaborate on those efforts. He's with the Churchill Rescue Squad and is serving as the Incident Commander of Ground Search Operations. Tim?
Thank you, Leslie. As Lowe's elaborated, I wish we could have better news than we do now. From notification of Miss Summer going missing, we have implemented several methods of search and rescue, with most of these that we continue to do. We've utilized ground crews of 80 to 100 people of trained professionals, aerial aviation search, both visual and FLIR, medical THB and TBI assisting us with fixed wing, multiple drones, and 4 different canine units. The day that she went missing, we searched from the time of notification until dark. We searched all day yesterday, resumed this morning, continue on throughout the rest of our operational period, utilizing multiple ground crews, drones, fixed wing, and also helicopter with K9s on standby. Some of the issues we're encountering with this search is the steep and dangerous terrain. With this steep and dangerous terrain, we're also experiencing, as you see behind us, very dense canopy coverage, including very dense ground cover, causing search efforts to become very difficult, taking extra time to cover these areas adequately, exhausting teams a lot quicker, in turn causing longer for these grounds to be covered, allowing those teams for recovery and rehab. We have currently covered at this time at 1 mile from the residents last seen by ground and dog. Hopefully by the end of the day we will have recovered 2 ground miles. Assisting with THP, expanding theirs to a minimum of 4 miles aerial aviation searching. As she stated, residents of this area, everybody continues to ask, well, if she wandered off, why did somebody not see her? This part of the community, the residents are very spread out. Some being from one hilltop to the other hilltop, or at the start of a road, and you may go a mile back before you ever get to another residence. It's making that very difficult for residents just to be able to be at home, outside working or something, and notice her leaving that area. As we continue, we will continually assist Hawkins County Sheriff's Department, TBI, and FBI with this search as long as they deem necessary. And as Leslie stated, at this time we are not asking for any public and or volunteers to assist in the search. A lot of people wonder why. Due to the extreme terrain, the nature of this, trying to locate her, trained professionals is what we need at this time to make sure that these residents don't become endangered and turn around and expand this issue with having to search for somebody else. Thank you.
As we've stated before, the circumstances surrounding Summer's disappearance remain unclear. So if we do develop information that she was taken and we develop a suspect and a vehicle description, of course we will share that with the public immediately. At this time, that's just not the case. So we'll take a couple of questions, and I'll offer Sheriff Lawson an opportunity to say anything if he wants to.
What time was she last seen, and who reported her missing in the family?
Sheriff.
Her parents reported her missing. It was right around 6:30 p.m.
But when was she, did they say when she was last seen? I know that she was reported missing around that time, but was she last seen earlier in the afternoon or in the day even?
That time is varied because they were searching for their child themselves.
I have a question for Captain. Just wanted to see, are you asking for assistance from other agencies? I know yesterday you all mentioned 19 agencies helping out with the quick turnover in personnel, it sounds like, that are searching. Are you all looking for other agencies in surrounding counties to help? And what is the hours that you all are searching?
Yes, so hours of operation this time are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. We have, like Leslie stated yesterday, we have utilized at this time 19 different agencies throughout the state of Tennessee. We also have multiple agencies outside of our jurisdiction in burning states, and also expanding to Middle Tennessee to having these teams on standby.
You talked about getting tips. Can you give me an idea of the magnitude of tips that you've gotten so far, and with the amount of time that's passed, is there concern, that it's less likely to find the longer it goes?
Of course, the longer this goes, the more concerned we get. At this stage, we've received nearly 50 leads. None have panned out so far.
50?
Yes, approximately 50 at this point.
Who does Summer live with, and is there any history with this family with law enforcement or anything that you're aware of?
Sheriff.
Summer lived with her parents and 3 siblings.
Are these her biological parents, mother and father?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any history of your office?
1 second. Sorry.
Is there any history of your office going to their home or anyone in the home? Is there any criminal history with family members?
The father has a criminal history.
Can you elaborate on that?
I don't have it with me.
Is any of the family persons of interest?
Everybody's a person of interest till we find Summer. The most important thing is find Summer. That's what it's all about. That's why we're doing the ground searches, the aerial searches, and finding her is first and foremost.
Are you concerned that this could be an abduction at this point after so much time has passed?
Everything's on the table. I mean, we're looking at everything, crossing every T, dotting every I, and turning every stone. That's why we have 2 different operations. Captain's operation is search and rescue. Law enforcement operation is to look into this incident and find Summer.
Is the father's criminal record relevant in this investigation?
No, sir.
I've also heard there's been speculation of the siblings in the household. Just wasn't sure if you're able to elaborate on the siblings at all.
They have 3 others besides Summer.
Older, younger, brothers, sisters?
Older.
Okay. One more question, guys. Anybody have another question? Okay.
I had a question. We've heard about issues with communications between search teams regarding lack of cell coverage as well as the radios. Could you elaborate on that? What those issues have been and how they've impacted the search?
Well, Captain, he can relate to that. As far as law enforcement, we can't hardly communicate at all on our radios, and cell phones are out of the question, but thanks to AT&T and Verizon, he can tell you about that. They've been a big help to us. Go ahead.
Elaborate on that real quick. AT&T and Verizon both have bought cell phone service boosters to our command post to help try to utilize cell phone coverage, which is still very spotty for most of the area. Radio communication between ground crews and also aerial aviation has been very difficult due to the state that our radio system's in at this time. For ground crew operations, we were having to utilize anywhere from 4 to 6 different radio channels to make sure we have the coverage to where everybody's accounted for.
Real quick, when you said that the search area you covered was about a mile, did you mean a square mile or a radius around the residence?
That is going to be a radius from around the residence from the last point of her household.
Thanks everybody for being here. Just to clarify, ground search efforts end around 8 o'clock. However, if we do receive any phone calls giving us a credible lead, we do follow up on those leads throughout the night. Thanks for being here. Any updates will be posted on our Twitter feed, and we'll update you again as soon as we have something available. Thank you.
Offering assistance in the form of donations, others are offering up their help through prayer. The prayer garden at Solomon's Temple Missionary Baptist Church is covered in teddy bears, wreaths, and other mementos in hopes of Summer's safe return. A Johnson City man who's been following the case made 2 wreaths for Summer and tells us his goal in doing so is to raise awareness.
I personally myself pray that this prayer garden here will show the family of Miss Summer Wells that they have support.
He says they are keeping a light at the bottom of their newest wreath for Summer, and they hope the light stays on until she is returned home safe.
Tomorrow will mark 3 years since Summer Wells disappeared from her home in the Beech Creek community in Hawkins County.
Today, people in Rogersville gathered to show they have not forgotten about her. Despite repeated searches using canines and drones and people, Summer has not been found. Law enforcement last updated the public last year when the TBI released an age-progressed photo of her.
News Channel 11's Jayana Scurry was at the Stand for Summer event today and reveals how the community feels 3 years later.
Missing children advocates and content creators from all over gathered together to remember Summer Wells and spread awareness about her disappearance.
We're trying to make a statement for Summer, and what we wanted to do was actually see that the law enforcement here in the county know that we're still standing strong for Summer, that we want to be her voice.
Burita Phillips runs a YouTube channel called Sharing and Caring with Miss Chewy, where she discusses true crime, domestic violence, and missing children. That's how she connected with many other content creators who do the same, like Evelyn Jenkins from Kentucky.
If we don't, who is? These kids become cold cases. And, you know, if there's nobody keeping their name out there and putting their picture out there and putting their flyer out there, who is?
Content creators from as far as England came to spread awareness about Wells and other locally missing people. Phillips appreciates the support from far and wide.
We need everybody, anybody. Just the average person can take flyers and distribute flyers, or just saying Summer's name to somebody and letting them know that she's been gone for 3 years. We're not giving up hope. We don't think she's deceased. We don't. We're hoping and praying every day that she'll come home.
Summer's Day, the 3rd annual vigil on the anniversary of her disappearance, will take place at Warriors Path State Park at 4 p.m.
Summer doesn't have a voice. We have to be her voice. And if we don't do it, nobody's going to do it.
In Rogersville, Jayana Scurry, News Channel 11.
Well, as we've heard through this search, crews are facing a tough task with this terrain in the area.
Yeah, it's rough for sure. The TBI released aerial video of the home where Summer lived and the surrounding area to give you some perspective of what rescue personnel are dealing with as they continue to search for the child. They continue to show us these pictures of very dense brush in a hilly area combining for an extremely difficult search today.
The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation said they have received dozens of tips from the public since issuing this alert for Summer Wells.
And they revealed a bit more today into the massive search for the little girl involving law enforcement and rescue crews. Bianca Murray continues coverage with highlights from a news conference this afternoon. Bianca?
Josh and Sarah, authorities said today that while this is a search for Summer, it is also an investigation into what happened leading up to her disappearance. Authorities said all avenues are being explored. A spokesperson for the TBI said as of this afternoon, they've received 85 tips and all tips are being followed up. According to crews on the ground, search methods expanded today to offer a wider range. Churchill Rescue Squad's captain Tim Coop said over 100 trained professionals from over 40 agencies are working to find Summer Wells. New search methods were also added today to better sift through creeks and crevices around Ben Hill Road.
Dive teams, hazardous and extreme terrain search teams, subject matter experts. We have deployed the state TAC and radio system to increase radio coverage for search and law enforcement efforts. USAR, the urban search and rescue teams, and also have deployed state and federal resources.
As of Thursday, Coop says over 680 acres have been searched with the hope of having 1,000 acres searched by 8 p.m. tonight. As for the community, Hawkins County Sheriff Ronnie Lawson today confirmed community members have consented to law enforcement searching their properties. He said no search warrant has been necessary in the search for Summer. Now, this is one of the radio signal boosters that officials mentioned today. They said the towers like this will help search crews be able to better communicate via radio. However, cell phone signal that is still pretty bad. Reporting live from the scene in the Beach Creek community, I'm Bianca Murray for News Channel 11.
Thank you, Bianca. That cell phone problem, a major issue. If you have any information pertaining to Summer Wells, you're urged to call 1-800-TBI-FIND. You may email tips to the email address tips@tbi.tn.gov. We have that information on WJHL.com tonight as well. Mark, thank you. New details tonight of the search for 5-year-old Summer Wells. Incident Commander Tim Coop says the command center at Mount Carmel Baptist Church has been demobilized and that multiple local search crews and outside resources are on standby now.
Tonight marks 2 weeks since Summer's parents say she was last seen at their home in Hawkins County. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation says they have received 650 tips in the search for 5-year-old Summer. TBI tweeted this afternoon urging the public to only share information from credible sources, adding, quote, sharing speculation or rumors only makes the process more difficult for law enforcement by increasing the number of non-credible tips, end quote.
News Channel 11's Bianca Murray joins us live. Bianca, we got to speak with both of Summer's parents. What did they say about the toll her disappearance is having on their family?
Well, Josh and Sarah, we spoke with the Summer's parents yesterday, and they said that she is an absolute force of nature in their home. But now that she's missing, they say it's like every member of their family has lost a little bit of their heart.
Her brothers are so devastated that they wake up every morning crying for their sister. And as a mother, it really hurts to see your other children crying.
Summer's parents say her brothers are having a hard time coping with their sister disappearing. 12-year-old Josie, 11-year-old Wyatt, and 9-year-old Waylon.
And he misses his sister so much because he played with her all the time.
Summer's mom, Candus, says she's been receiving hateful messages on social media, most of which, she says, calls her a bad mom.
And I'm sorry that you guys feel that way, but that's my baby, and nobody would ever treat her like that as long as I was around, ever.
Summer's mom says she's fearing the worst.
I'm just scared that somebody's hurting her, and there's nothing I can do about it. And it smothers me.
Summer's dad says he fears her being locked up indoors somewhere because he says she loves to be outside.
She loved to be outside all the time. That was her, unfortunately, her downfall. 'Cause a lot of times the boys would be inside and we'd be like, "Where's Summer? Why'd you leave her out there alone? Go get Summer now." And that's happened over and over again. And I'm so afraid that she's locked away.
Josh and Sarah, the family, tell us that they think Summer was abducted. However, the TBI says the circumstances of Summer's disappearance remains unclear. And though this command center has been demobilized, search crews say they are still following up on every tip. Reporting live in the Beach Creek community, Bianca Murray, News Channel 11.
New tonight at 5, Candus Bly, the mother of missing Rogersville 5-year-old Summer Wells, released a statement explaining her reasons for walking out during an appearance with Dr. Phil and the behavior panel.
Now, according to a statement from Bly just before the Wells family's appearance on the Dr. Phil show, she says a child was reported that matched Summer's description somewhere, quote, south of Tennessee. Blyde in this statement said when that girl was found and it was not Summer, she said it was, quote, like losing her all over again. In a YouTube video published on the family's YouTube page, a statement stated there were many reasons why she got up and left. But she said she walked away from the interview with that behavioral panel hired by Dr. Phil for the segments after she believed that they became confrontational. You can find a link to the video of her statement on WJHL.com.
Meanwhile, the search for Summer Wells continues more than 5 months after she was reported missing by her family. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation is asking for credible tips phoned in to 1-800-TBI-FIND, or you can email them to tipstotbi@tn.gov.
Saying that they will not quit until she found. Teams continue today to search for 5-year-old Summer Wells, the Hawkins County girl at the center of a Tennessee Amber Alert. 10 days have passed since she was reported missing, and that's where we begin. News Channel 11 at 5 o'clock on this Friday. Thank you for being with us. I'm Josh Smith.
I'm Sarah Diamond. Now, authorities did not hold a news briefing today in the case. They said previously there will not be daily briefings when there are no new developments. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation posted on social media the agency has received 394 tips since family members reported Summer missing the evening of June 15th. She has blonde hair, blue eyes, and is about 3 feet tall.
In the 10 days since she was reported missing, search teams from over 100 agencies, teams from 6 states have spent endless hours searching for the missing 5-year-old. And they've covered, they say, over 3,000 acres in the area near her home on Ben Hill Road in the Beach Creek community of Hawkins County, where she was last seen. And that's where Bianca Murray joins us live tonight. She's near the Search Command Center.
Bianca, you spoke with Summer's mother and grandmother today. What did they tell you?
Josh and Sarah, I took a trip down to Ben Hill Road this afternoon with a friend of the Wells family. Now that's where the Wells family lives. I met Summer's mom and grandmother, neither of whom felt up to doing an on-camera interview, but they spoke to me about how much they miss Summer. In a statement, Summer's mom, Candus Wells, told me she knows Summer would never leave her home alone. Summer's grandmother, Candace Hera, told me in a statement, quote, "Bring my grandbaby home. She is a lovely baby and we're so thankful for everyone looking for her. We yelled and looked for her as much as we could. She was just gone. It's devastating." The Wells family told me today that they don't want to go on camera because they don't want to give any more reason for people on social media to spew negativity at them, and they tell me that they are getting quite a bit of negativity right now. Tonight at 6, you will hear from a family friend who is begging for compassion for the family at this point. Live in Beach Creek, I'm Bianca Murray for News Channel 11.
There's still an active Amber Alert in Hawkins County, and it's been ongoing for almost 3 years. On June the 15th of 2021, then 5-year-old Summer Wells was reported missing from her home on Ben Hill Road in the Beach Creek community. The area was filled with law enforcement and search crews for weeks, but there was no sign of the missing girl. Now, Beach Creek is much quieter, almost like it was before that alert went out. There are faded posters with Summer's face and information, with the hopes that someone who might know something will come forward. Shannon Phillips is one neighbor who wants to know where Summer is. He lives a few miles from the Wells family and went out to help search for her when she was first reported missing. He says he doesn't understand how law enforcement isn't any closer to finding her.
They should do more to try to find this little girl, because ever since then I've been really cautious with my grandkids.
Again, there is still an active Amber Alert for Summer tonight. The last update we received from law enforcement was about this time last year. That's when they released this age-progressed photo of Summer. That's what she could look like. Summer has blonde hair and blue eyes. She was reportedly last seen wearing gray pants, a pink shirt, and was possibly barefoot.
Tomorrow, crews will head back into the field for another ground search for missing 5-year-old Summer Wells. The Hawkins County girl disappeared from her Beach Creek community home 5 weeks ago. News Channel 11's Bianca Murray spoke with a professional search and recovery organization from the Midwest that's coming back to Northeast Tennessee for tomorrow's search.
Crews with AccuSearch Midwest plan to comb through these fields in the Beach Creek community in hopes of finding Summer Wells.
For this search that we have for Summer this weekend, we have maybe 15 or 20 of our members coming, and the members that we have for our organization are some amazing people.
Having been in Beach Creek once before, AccuSearch members are planning to turn over every stone in hopes of finding a clue to Summer's whereabouts.
There's several different things that we use when we go on a search. We use sonar and different things like that.
Most importantly, Cisco says the public should not try to assist searchers.
The terrain in that area up there is very dangerous. And we encourage the public to not even try to go out there and search, because we can assure you that law enforcement is doing everything they possibly can, and the teams that are trained properly, you know, they go out and they do these searches, and it's very dangerous out there.
Having done over 30 similar searches since 2012, AccuSearch teams hope to use their honed skills to find Summer, but they say that's not all it's about.
We just try to do everything we possibly can, you know, to help get closure for families, or to even let the families know that we do care, and we want them to know that there are people out there that truly do care.
As a nonprofit, the group is asking for donations.
When we do this, you know, even if we don't have donations, we still go and we do this, and we take money out of our own pocket to be able to do this. Like the money issue, that's not even a big deal. That doesn't even come to our mind whatsoever.
If you wish to donate to the search efforts this weekend, you can find that information on WJHL.com. In the Beach Creek community, I'm Bianca Murray for News Channel 11.
And as always, if you have information that could help the investigators find Summer, call 1-800-TBI-FIND or email the address on your screen.
Professional search experts will be in Hawkins County today, revitalizing the search for missing 5-year-old Summer Wells. News Channel 11's Bianca Murray spoke with the search coordinator for AccuSearch Midwest, the group hoping to locate Summer or gain some clue as to where she might be.
Using searches on foot, utility vehicles, drones, and even technology like sonar, AccuSearch Midwest members hope to find something in the fields and forest of the Beach Creek community leading to Summer Wells.
Our members are very determined and motivated, and once we start a search, you know, we continue going. Sometimes we'll search from daylight till it's not, you know, dark outside, and we just try to do everything we possibly can.
The group of 15 to 20 trained professionals plan to work through the area searched once already, hoping to find anything possibly missed.
And we're hoping and praying, you know, that we can get some answers. We don't make promises, but we just try to go out and do the best we can, and we're going to hope that we can bring Summer home.
Cisco tells me she has a message to the public hoping to help.
If I could suggest anything to the public, I would suggest to just keep that flyer floating around, keep her pictures floating around, and just don't give up on hope for Summer to be brought home, because there are people out there that do truly care, and we are going to give everything we possibly can to try and find Summer to bring her home.
Reporting in Beach Creek, Bianca Marais, News Channel 11.
News Channel 11 will follow this story this weekend and bring any updates that might come out of that search with continued coverage both online and on air on News Channel 11.
Tonight, the weather remains a concern because of the threat for storms. News Channel 11's John Janko continues our coverage from Hawkins County.
Captain Tim Coop says severe thunderstorms could impact tonight's search efforts. It has rained on and off throughout the evening here. If conditions continue to be severe, Coop says crews will have to be called off. We also got a closer look today at the residence which Summer Wells called home. Donald Wells let us come to the home off Ben Hill Road earlier today, but did not wish to speak on camera. He showed us the door he says Summer left from, the flowers he says she planted with her mother and grandmother, and the swing she would often play on. Meanwhile, in the area surrounding the Wells home, crews are dealing with the threat of severe weather.
We can't put our teams in danger to turn around and maximize the situation.
Coop says the weather could change the terrain being searched for now, but that efforts would continue if conditions stay calm enough.
We will not quit until we find Summer Wells.
Hawkins County Sheriff Ronnie Lawson today asked residents of Beach Creek, Hawkins, and Sullivan County to help their efforts.
As soon as possible, go back and check their entire property, any outbuildings, any barns, any place a child could hide.
Investigators have also started to utilize surveillance video in the surrounding area.
Drivers seen in the area at the time of her disappearance have been identified and interviewed.
We also learned of a special FBI unit's presence here in Hawkins County. The Child Abduction Rapid Deployment, or CARD team, consists of FBI agents, intelligence analysts, and behavioral profilers to help in child abductions or disappearances. Although a CARD team is now on the ground, authorities are considering all possibilities as nothing can be confirmed as to what happened. In the Beach Creek community, John Janko, News Channel 11.
You're going to hear from Hawkins County Sheriff Ronnie Lawson, followed by Captain Tim Coop with the Churchill Rescue Squad. Summer is still missing, and we are more concerned than ever and desperate to find her. TBI agents continue to work with the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office and the FBI in an effort to determine what happened to Summer. We are utilizing all available resources, to include the FBI's Child Abduction Rapid Deployment Team. We want to reiterate that the circumstances leading to Summer's disappearance remain unclear, which is why we've been exploring all possibilities. Agents and detectives have followed up on a number of leads, to include residential surveillance video and photos from around the area of Summer's home. Drivers seen in the area at the time of her disappearance have been identified and interviewed. While we've not ruled out an abduction, we simply do not have any evidence at this point to confirm that's what occurred. For that reason, the ground search for Summer continues. It's possible that she wandered off and is lost and afraid. Sheriff Ronnie Lawson is going to talk more about what we need from property owners at this point. Sheriff?
Thank you. First of all, I want to let everyone know that what a big asset that Mount Carmel Baptist Church has been to us. They've opened their doors, their church, their fellowship hall, their land. And as y'all see, this is a very remote area, and we would be in desperate trouble if we didn't have that place to set up our command post. With that said, we're using every available resource that we have, and today I want to use you all. I want the word to get out to all the residents in the Upper Beach Creek community, Hawkins County and Sullivan County. We need the residents to go back today, tonight, tomorrow, as soon as possible, and go back and check their entire property, any outbuildings, any barns, any place a child could hide. We desperately need you to do that for us. It's easier for you to check your own property than it is to send officers there. We have not stopped. As the captain will tell you, we've been 24/7 for 6 days now. So we desperately need help from the community now searching their own property. Any question? Okay, Captain.
Thank you, Sheriff. As both of them have stated, we will continue to search for Summer Wells until we locate Summer Wells. As of June 21st, 2021, search and rescue efforts for missing 5-year-old Summer Wells will continue throughout the day and also the night. At this point, we have utilized 72 agencies from Tennessee, Ohio, Virginia, Alabama, Georgia, and North Carolina assisting in these search efforts. Numerous specialized search and rescue groups and canine teams have been represented from these multiple different agencies. To date, we have estimated approximately 2,400 acres have been searched since Tuesday night when she was reported missing. The rugged mountainous terrain continues to cause problems and slow the search operations at times. The search will continue Tuesday morning into Wednesday morning. An updated release will be issued as new information becomes available. And as stated before, if anyone has any information on the disappearance of Summer Wells, please contact Hawkins County Sheriff's Department and our 1-800-TBA fine. Thank you.
We'll open it up for a few questions at this time.
Just wondering, has Summer ever wandered off before?
According to family members, it's not common for her to wander off.
Saturday, there was a pretty extensive search into the evening. Can you elaborate on what that tip was and why there was such a large presence for crews to come back out?
Anytime we have information that could potentially lead us to locating Summer, we're going to use all resources. Crews were in the area following up on a lead. Unfortunately, Summer's still missing.
How is the changing weather impacting your search?
Sure, that's a great question. Captain Coop, can you explain?
So the projected forecast here for the next 24 to 48 hours will change our approach. It will not change our aggressive approach. The only thing that this will change, it will change maybe what terrain we approach at this time. Due to the severe thunderstorms, we can't put our teams in danger to turn around and maximize the situation. We are monitoring weather 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with live weather updates. We are also utilizing the National Weather Service, who calls us on a routine basis. If there's any type of weather that's approaching our immediate area, they have been more than helpful with notifying us in a very timely manner to allow us to know to where we can plan on how we're going to approach these areas.
Talking about the weather, is there concern about some of these crews from other areas having to go back to their area to respond to storms there?
Speaking with some of these teams, especially the teams that have been coming out of state, traveling 4+ hours, they also have had to do what we've had to do is utilize as much resources as we can to find Summer Wells, but we still have to be able to cover our areas. So a lot of these people, they're still allowing people to stay back. When these crews from out of town then return, they'll swap out. Those crews will then monitor their areas and send us fresh crews, and we are doing the same thing for our resources here locally.
Do we know when the active search will potentially turn into a recovery mode instead of a potential rescue mode?
Let's elaborate on that.
We will address that at some point, but right now our focus remains on finding Summer. We're using all resources as of today, and we want that to be the focus right now.
This is a question more for maybe Leslie and Sheriff Lawson. You just mentioned that you have used some surveillance video, things that you had asked for earlier in the week. Can you elaborate what you saw in that surveillance video and how that might have helped you?
Well, as you know, and you guys helped us get the word out, we asked residents to let us know if they had surveillance cameras around their home or trail cameras. Residents have reached out. We've reviewed those photos and video, and if we identified a vehicle in the video, we would identify the driver and then speak with the driver to interview them to see if they had any information.
How long, when someone typically goes missing, how long does it take to find? Like, is this exceptionally long?
Every case is different. It's a case-by-case situation.
On day 6 now, for maybe the folks that are out there in the field, how are you keeping, I guess, morale and spirits? How are, I'm sure folks are tired, they've been out here tirelessly for days on end now. How are you kind of keeping folks engaged and spirits up?
Ultimately, the people that's involved with the search operations, we all have the same outlook. We will not quit until we find Summer Wells. So these guys have spent countless hours, day in, day out, nighttime, the thing that I stress with my guys is if you're getting to the point that you're getting tired, please take a break, get rest, rehab, recover. That way you can come back and continue to go stronger. It is a large family with law enforcement involved. We keep each other's spirits up. It's all a team effort. And to elaborate on it, a lot of times you guys being up here, you start seeing a lot of people leave at the evening time. At the evening time, it is too treacherous and too dangerous unless TBI or Sheriff's Department gets a lead that they need us to go help assist on. Too dangerous for us to keep our guys up in these mountains and this treacherous terrain at nighttime. But I want you guys to know and rest assured, along with the community, that search efforts do not stop when it gets dark. We have been utilizing fixed wing and aerial aviation to literally scan this area from the time it gets dark to the time that we return in the morning. It does not quit. They utilize multiple resources, FLIR, and other things to continually map this area and to continue the search for Summer Wells.
This is a question more for Sheriff Hawkins, or Lawson, I'm sorry. I know we've talked a lot about there's two different operations going on, Find Summer as well as the investigation. Is there more on the investigation side that you can tell us into anything that you've talked with family members or anyone who last saw her since we last spoke on Friday?
We've interviewed so many people in the community on the road, and we're still jointly working with TBI and the FBI, and everything is really going real well. We cover each other's tracks, go back and re-interview, and like Captain said and Leslie, we're not going to stop till we find Summer.
How is her family doing? I mean, this is going into day 7. Tomorrow will be day 7 since their child has gone missing and no leads in this massive search operation. How is her family holding up? Have you spoken with her parents? How are they doing?
We've spoken with her parents. I can't speak for them. They spoke with you. They're being cooperative. Of course, they're upset. So we continue to keep them updated and do whatever possible we can to find Summer. And we just ask everyone in the community, especially those of you who have any tidbit of information that you haven't shared, to please come forward. Her family asks that as well.
And last week you also talked a little bit about speculation and social media rumors. Has that continued to get worse over the weekend, and is that continuing to maybe even cause hindrances?
Sure, it's always a battle. You know, we ask residents with credible information to call 1-800-TBI-FIND and submit tips through that avenue. We find that we're receiving a lot of tips that is a screenshot from Facebook. It's an opinion or speculation. That's not a credible tip, and it just bogs down the system, as I've mentioned before. So please only share credible information. Someone's opinion or idea on Facebook is not a credible tip. Did you have a question?
I was going to ask.
Okay.
Has the family been ruled out? I know they said that they understood you investigating them and interviewing them. Have they been ruled out at this time, or are you still looking?
As we've said time and time again, the circumstances leading to Summer's disappearance are very much under investigation. And at this time, we continue to explore all possibilities. Okay, thanks for coming, guys. We appreciate the continuing coverage. We appreciate the community and all their support. And again, I can't stress enough, anyone with information is asked to call 1-800-TBI-FIND. Thank you.
First tonight, teams from 15 agencies returned to Hawkins County for a second day of large-scale ground searches for Summer Wells.
Yesterday marked the first widespread search we'd seen in the area around the family home for the missing 5-year-old girl in months. The return to the Beech Creek community for dozens of members of law enforcement and rescue personnel, part of a planned search, the TBI said. They really want to take advantage of just the change in terrain, the decrease in foliage because of the winter weather approaching. That's according to the TBI, who said that there were no new developments in the case yesterday, and so far we've heard of none today. Bianca Murray's been there in the Beech Creek community monitoring the search efforts for the last couple of days.
Josh and Sarah, it's been nearly 6 months since Summer was reported missing, and search efforts today rivaled that of the day that she disappeared. Crews from 15 agencies, including as far away as White Pine, Tennessee, gathered for the second day of the second official large-scale search for the missing 5-year-old. The TBI reports search teams have covered a total of 350 acres over the last 2 days.
I mean, everybody's still
searching just as hard as they were the day when it first started, really. I mean, that's the proof to you kind of how this community is, I guess. And tight-knit, everybody seems to be. That's a good thing still.
A cadaver dog from Greene County was seen searching the wooded areas along the Wells property today. The TBI today reported that the search is likely over for now, but that search crews will continue to search specific areas as new information is discovered. In Beach Creek, Bianca Murray, News Channel 11.
The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation continues to ask for credible tips in the Amber Alert search. You can call 1-800-TBI-FIND or email tips to tbi@tn.gov. The TBI announced they have received more than 560 tips, still none of them offering that solid lead they've been waiting for. More than 1,100 acres have been searched on the ground. Helicopters and airplanes have searched above. Here's video of the command center on June 16th, where the TBI and the FBI were coordinating more than 120 agencies assisting in the search. Well, tonight it is a very different picture. Incident Commander Tim Coop said the command center at the Mount Carmel Free Will Baptist Church is now demobilized. But while there's no longer a massive number of people in the area, we're told search crews and outside resources tonight are very much on standby if they're needed. Here's a look at Summer's photo again. If you see her or have any information that could help investigators find her, call the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation at 1-800-TBI-FIND, or you can send an email to tips@tbi@tn.gov.
You're watching News Channel 11 at 6.
The search for 5-year-old Summer Wells continues today with calls to find the missing child now reaching statewide. You're watching News Channel 11 at 6. I'm Kelly Grossfield. Summer went missing from her Hawkins County home on Tuesday night. Since then, it's been an around-the-clock effort to find her. Take a look at your screen. This is Summer Wells. She's blonde with blue eyes and about 3 feet tall. Today marks 4 days since she disappeared. Authorities have been searching in the Beach Creek community where the Wells home is located and where she was last seen. Hundreds of workers have been trekking through rough terrain in the search for Summer. Kate Nemrich is keeping up with the search efforts and joins us now. Kate, what's the latest regarding the search?
Hey Kelly, crews have been searching since Tuesday night, but today was the first time that we saw crews searching this field right behind me on Beach Creek Road. We're about 3 miles from Ben Hill Road, where Summer was reportedly last seen on Tuesday night. We also saw crews about 2 miles down Beach Creek Road in the opposite direction of Ben Hill Road, searching fields along the road there. About 41 agencies are now involved in the search, but earlier today, Hawkins County Emergency Communications put out a statewide call through the Tennessee Association of Rescue Squads for help starting tomorrow. Crews are facing treacherous terrain, heat, and communication issues, and that is why they are only using trained professionals in this search. Crews plan to search through 8 p.m. tonight and then wrap up and begin searching again at 8 a.m. That is unless they receive a tip in the meantime. They say they are following up on tips 24 hours a day. The TBI also does not plan on having a press conference this weekend unless there are updates in the case. In the Beach Creek community, Kate Nemrich, News Channel 11.
Kate, thank you. The community has shown an outpouring of support since Summer disappeared. People have donated food and supplies to search crews and have even offered to help search themselves. But today they offered assistance through prayer. At 9 this morning, the Kingsport Seventh-day Adventist Church held a prayer vigil for Summer Wells. The pews were full of community members and even family. Summer's mother, father, and brother were there. Her father, Don Wells, spoke at the vigil and also spoke with our reporters about what it meant to see the community support.
Without God and these people, you know, and that's other churches too as well that have been supporting us. I mean, all of church family is very. I mean, that's the most important thing to me right now.
Again, it's been 4 days since Summer Wells disappeared. TBI has received over 100 tips in the case. If you have a credible tip or information that could lead to finding Summer Wells, contact the TBI immediately. That information is on your screen.
Ashley Sharp, thank you. For the first time in more than a week, we hear from Hawkins County Sheriff Ronnie Lawson on the search for Summer Wells. In an email to News Channel 11, Sheriff Lawson described the case today as still very active and intense, with, quote, everything possible being checked out by investigators. Sheriff Lawson said out of the 750 tips received so far, none have resulted in a solid lead. This comes after the Hawkins County 5-year-old has been missing now for 17 days.
The Churchill Rescue Squad announced today it will no longer be the lead agency in the search for Summer Wells, saying the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office is now in charge of future ground searches. Meanwhile, the Amber Alert for Summer Wells issued by the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation remains active. TBI says they've received just under 1,070 tips in the case, but have yet to get a solid lead on where Summer might be. If you have information you think could help locate her, contact TBI. If you see her, call 911 immediately.
Tonight, News Channel 11 dives deeper into the disappearance of Hawkins County 6-year-old Summer Wells. And for the first time, we're hearing from the lead investigator at the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office in charge of the case. Tonight, he tells us what the Wells family relationship with law enforcement looks like now, as Summer's father remains in jail and lawyers are involved.
In February, Sheriff Ronnie Lawson told News Channel 11 that the Wells family had lawyers and were no longer cooperating. The lead investigator for the case explained how that, as well as how her father's current stint in jail on unrelated charges, hasn't moved this case forward.
The family has attorneys involved, and that is not a direct line of communication.
That tone is quite the change from what it was last year when Summer was first reported missing.
It was pretty good. We would show up about every day, make sure that they were okay, and had a decent line of communication with them.
About a month later, in July, Child Protective Services removed her 3 older brothers from their home and appointed attorneys to the case.
They have been appointed for other instances, but it bleeds over into this investigation as well.
Summer Wells' father, Don, was arrested late last year for driving under the influence and violating probation.
Going off of that, obviously we know that Don Wells is incarcerated here. Does that play a role at all in this investigation?
No, ma'am.
On February 7th, a judge ordered him to serve the remainder of his 11 months and 29-day sentence in the Hawkins County Jail.
With Mr. Wells, he knows when he first came into the institution, he knows at any time he wants to talk to let their staff know, and I will get to him as quick as I can.
But Pruitt hopes the Wells family knows, despite the other legal troubles, they can reach out anytime.
Communication between me and the family have changed, but I hope that they still understand that they can come talk to me at any time they want to.
You can find all of today's coverage from our interview with Detective Pruitt, as well as more in-depth reports on the Search for Summer section of our website.
So when her mother come in, she says, "Where's Summer?" She went down in the basement. She didn't answer, so she went down there and she was gone. So she went out the basement door, which was unlocked, and we haven't seen her since.
This morning, Donald Wells spoke on camera for the first time since his daughter disappeared.
Please let Summer be okay, and please come home.
He says it's unlikely Summer would leave the house on her own. Wells says the last time anyone in the family saw Summer was when she entered the house to play in the basement after gardening with her mother and grandmother. Wells also spoke about his gut feeling about Summer's whereabouts.
Some bad person grabbed her, but we have no idea.
Wells says law enforcement have covered leads on area sex offenders and drug addicts.
We're trying to think, beat our brains out. We've covered everything that we can think of already.
Investigators say they have followed up on 85 tips so far. Wells says he is overwhelmed by the massive numbers of personnel on site.
We just really appreciate everybody trying to help that they have, law enforcement and all these volunteers that are here. I've never seen anything like this in my entire life.
That was John Janko reporting those sentiments shared by Hawkins County Sheriff Ronnie Lawson, who said he has never seen a show of public support like this in his 4 decades of law enforcement.
Yeah, today the TBI and Sheriff Lawson said Summer's family does continue to cooperate in this ongoing search for the little girl. They say that at all points the family has continued to be assisting in this process.
The search for missing 5-year-old Summer Wells continues today as we reach day 31 since the little Hawkins County girl was reported missing.
News Channel 11's Bianca Murray spoke with Summer's Sabbath school teacher about how much the little girl meant to her and the church they attend.
Summer's parents told us she really looked up to her Sabbath school teacher as a role model. Yesterday, I heard from Robin Lane how much Summer meant to her and her experience from the night Summer disappeared.
Whenever I was helping teach Sabbath school, she was in my lap. And sometimes it was hard to teach because she wanted to be in my lap, holding me and hugging me. I just discovered that it was actually easier for me just to hold her and let her love on me and hug me and teach with her on me than it was to make her sit in a chair.
Robin Lane tells me she had a close bond with Summer.
She was a helper. She loved to help. She loved to love on us. And I just loved her little arms around my neck all the time.
She recalled she was attending her own daughter's dance recital the night Summer disappeared.
I was taking my little girl's pictures before her dance class, and I noticed I was missing calls from Candus. Before I even had a chance to call her, she messaged me again on Facebook Messenger, and she was just in a panic mode. And she says, "Summer's gone, we can't find her anywhere, the police are here searching." And I said, "I'll be right there."
Lane said she arrived at the Beach Creek area around 9 p.m. on June 15th, the night Summer was reported missing.
I was ready. I was like, let's do this. Let's get the flashlights out. Let's get some snacks in our bags. You know, it's going to be an all-nighter, you know. And they wouldn't let us. They wouldn't let us even go up there.
Police blocking the entrance to Ben Hill Road. Lane says she offered assistance the only way she could.
We showed them some pictures of Summer. The police didn't have very good pictures of her, or some of them hadn't even seen a picture of her yet.
Later that night, she was granted access to the Wells home.
At that point, there's really nothing I could do. They just needed someone to pray with them. You feel really helpless in that situation because you want to do something. It makes you feel better to do something. But we couldn't, so we just prayed and we just hugged on them and loved on the boys. And they, of course, were just shattered and just confused, as was I.
Lane says police wouldn't allow them to assist in the search.
And then we had to go home, and it was really hard driving home with her not being found. Helicopters everywhere, search dogs everywhere, police everywhere, and there's nothing that you can do to help.
Tonight at 6, hear how the members of the Kingsport Seventh-day Adventist Church has been offering whatever help they can to the Wells family in this time of need.
That was Bianca Murray reporting. If you have information on where Summer Wells might be, contact 1-800-TBI-FIND or email credible tips to the address on your screen, tips2TBI@tn.gov.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Leslie Earhart, a Public Information Officer for the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. Before we get started, I want to stress that the investigation into the disappearance of Summer Wells is very much active and ongoing. Please understand, in order to preserve the integrity of the investigation, we simply can't speak to specifics. We appreciate you being here today and your continuing coverage of this case. At approximately 6:30 p.m. on this day, 1 year ago, Summer Wells, who was 5 years old at the time, was reported missing from her home in the Beach Creek community of Hawkins County. When we held the first media briefing on June 16th, honestly, we expected to have good news to report by the time the next media briefing came around. Unfortunately, instead, day after day ended in frustration and disappointment. At that time, no one expected that we would still be searching for Summer 1 year later. We've said from the beginning that this case is outside the norm. There are few clues as to what happened to Summer, despite investigators doing everything within their power to find answers. All possibilities are still being explored. Many of you have asked for details about what's been done over the last year. I can tell you agents and detectives have spent thousands of hours on this case. Numerous search warrants have been executed, cell phone data has been analyzed, and any other available digital evidence has been collected, searched, and documented. This includes the social media accounts of those associated with Summer. 3 large ground searches have taken place in the last year with the assistance of more than 100 local, state, and federal agencies. Those searches do not account for the numerous targeted searches done by agents and detectives as they were following up on potential leads. From TBI alone, more than 100 agents, intelligence analysts, and support staff from across the state have been involved in this case. TBI agents working alongside the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office and the FBI have conducted nearly 170 interviews during the investigation. That does not count the hundreds of phone calls made to follow up on tips reported to law enforcement. While investigators have been diligently working to find answers, they've had to deal with thousands of tips generated by false information that in some cases has been intentionally spread across social media platforms. We know that this case has attracted the attention of individuals across the country who genuinely care about summer and want nothing more but to help us find answers. We appreciate those people. However, we are also aware that there are some people using this case for their own personal gain by spreading false information on social media posts as facts. Some go as far as to solicit donations. This has had a major impact on the investigation and not in a good way. Moving forward, we ask the public not to submit tips as a result of a video they viewed on YouTube or a theory they've seen posted on Facebook. Please help us and only call if you have direct, specific information about the disappearance of Summer. This investigation weighs heavily on us all, and I can promise you that no one wants answers more than we do, and we are not going to stop until we find them. I'm going to turn it over to Sheriff Ronnie Lawson.
Good morning. As Leslie mentioned, we didn't expect this case to be going on a year later. It's heartbreaking to me and my officers and the entire community. We've never stopped looking for Summer. We will continue to do so. There's never been a case in the history of Hawkins County Sheriff's Office that had officers working 365 days and had so many hours spent as we had in this investigation. Also, this office has never utilized so many different local, state, and federal agencies from across the state. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation and the Federal Bureau of Investigation assist us in every step of this investigation. As you heard Leslie say, thousands of hours have been invested in finding Summer, thousands of them. 170 interviews have been done. Many of these individuals have spoken to more than one time. While we haven't said a lot about the details about the investigative actions that's taken place, please know that we've never stopped. I deeply appreciate the many rescue squads, the EMAs, and the volunteer fire departments for their help. And the support from the citizens and the communities of this county is just unbelievable and overwhelming with the encouragement we get with the food during the searches we've done, and all the law enforcement officers and agencies throughout the state of Tennessee. It's just phenomenal how everybody pitched in and helped us with these searches and with this investigation. And many of you have asked why that we didn't recruit private citizens to assist in these searches. With the extreme dangerous terrain that we were experiencing in searches, we were able to monitor each group and movement in their location. That way we knew that everybody came back to the command post safely. After the initial searches, then we had to go back and obtain the landowner's permission to search again. We could not allow or even grant permission for private individuals on these people's property. And while I can promise you that we will continue to conduct target searches in the Beach Creek area as new information is developed, we'll also continue to follow up on any legitimate leads. And it's been the goal of this team since day one to find Summer. We've never stopped, we've never slowed down, we deal with it every day. And that's the whole purpose of this, to let you all know, despite what you hear, what you see, we haven't stopped. The men and women of these agencies have worked tireless, hours and hours and hours, and I commend every one of them for the job they've done, and we're going to continue till we find Summer.
Now, as I mentioned, we can't speak to specifics, but we will take a few questions.
A few months ago, you guys said that the parents were not cooperating anymore. Has there been any change in that, especially as Don Wells is incarcerated here in this facility?
We're not going to characterize cooperation at this time. Honestly, doing so does nothing but create more speculation, and it doesn't benefit the investigation. But thank you for asking.
Is there still a reward being offered if any information or summer is found?
Well, I can tell you that law enforcement did not coordinate that reward, so you would need to reach out to the Churchill Rescue Squad for information in that aspect.
Are the boys still in DC's custody?
That's not something we can speak to.
We do know that last year you guys pushed out some information about the red truck. I know that this is on here, but just so we can talk about it with you guys. Is that still something you're looking for? Do you still want people to submit tips, or is that over and we're just not looking for the red truck anymore?
I'm going to call on TBI Special Agent in charge, Derek Newport, just to talk about that and where that stands.
I would tell you yes, just to eliminate. We still don't have a good timeline of when that was observed. People that frequent areas on a regular basis can get days mixed up. We still want to figure out who, if possible, and if that's even a legitimate lead. As she said earlier, we followed a lot of dead leads that didn't produce anything. So that obviously is still something we want to put to bed, but it's not. We still can't pinpoint a date and an exact location of that truck.
Anybody else?
When this first came out, you guys said that Summer was last seen walking away from her home. That was like one of the initial reports that night. And then things kind of changed the following days. Is there any evidence that she walked away from home, or any evidence leading toward an abduction, or do we have any evidence of anything that night otherwise?
We don't have anything specific, and I think what's important to note there is that the sheriff mentioned that how many hours we've put into this investigation and how much time has been spent exploring every possibility: walk-off, abduction, other foul means. And I think that's the thing to keep in mind is it's still really wide open as to the what. We try to stay away from developing theories and just follow facts.
You mentioned that you're continuing to look at this case every day. Are there more searches planned as we're approaching the summer months?
No specific plan. However, if we get specific information about a specific location, building, what have you, we will coordinate with each other to go take a look at that location. What made it hard back in the summer is obviously the foliage. That's why you saw the two searches that were when the leaves were on the ground, so that we could use air assets and that you could actually see more of what's on the ground at the time. People say, well, leaves to cover things up. Well, you get moving things around enough, you'll see what you're looking for.
In the past, you said that there's no evidence that there was an abduction. Does that still stand?
It still stands.
Do the facts point towards one theory more than another?
No, they do not.
Or what happened?
Not at this point.
Well, thank you guys for being here. I just want to point out one more thing. This case is not cold. We get asked that a lot. It's not. We're talking to the sheriff constantly. We all work together as one team, and we're determined to find answers. Thank you for coming.
The search for 5-year-old Summer Wells continues tonight with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation assisting the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office. The Sheriff's Office has confirmed that the search for Summer, who was reported missing from the Beech Creek area of Hawkins County on June 15th, is still active and ongoing. The Sheriff's Office says they're still asking for your help in identifying a truck that was seen in the Ben Hill Road area the afternoon Summer went missing. This is possibly a 1998 to 2000 maroon or red Toyota Tacoma with a full bed ladder rack in the truck bed. The Sheriff's Office and TBI are continuing to follow up on tips. If you have any information that could assist investigators, you're asked to call the TBI or email them.
The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation has released a new age-progressed photo of missing Hawkins County girl Summer Wells. The TBI posted this new photo, which was created by a forensic artist to represent what Summer could look like in the present day. You can see an actual photo of Wells in 2021, the last age-progressed photo that was created in 2023, and the one that's updated from today. Summer has been missing since June of 2021. She was 5 years old when she was reported missing.
Just into our newsroom, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation says it will hold a news briefing in just a few hours on search efforts for 5-year-old Summer Wells. Family members reported Summer Wells missing around 6:30 p.m. June 15th after she was last seen at their Rogersville home on Ben Hill Road. There's currently a statewide Amber Alert for her in Tennessee. Again, that TBI briefing is set to start at 4 p.m. You can watch it live on the air in our First at 4 newscast on WJHL.com.
The search is not over. That's the message tonight from the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation as the disappearance of 5-year-old Summer Wells stretches into its 3rd week. Today marked 2 weeks since the TBI issued a statewide Amber Alert. The Wells family said Summer, in their opinion, has been abducted. They said she was last seen at their home in the Beech Creek area of Hawkins County June 15th. Let's go to News Channel 11's Ansley Daniels. She's in the Beech Creek community. And Ansley, you were able to communicate with the TBI today about the status of the search efforts. What did you find out?
That's right, Josh. Although this parking lot here is empty compared to what it looked like last week and even a few days ago as it was serving as the command center of operations for the search for Summer Wells, the TBI confirmed today that efforts to find the little girl have not stopped. Through an email exchange earlier today, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation spokesperson Leslie Earhart told News Channel 11, although the ground search has scaled back, points of interest have been searched daily since Sunday. That will continue to occur as needed. She went on to tell me that the circumstances leading to Summer's disappearance remain unclear, which is why they continue to explore all possibilities, including foul play. We are still told that there will not be any on-camera updates until there is a significant development, and authorities are continuing to look for the driver of a red Toyota Tacoma with a full bed ladder rack. That truck was seen in the area around the time Summer went missing. The authorities are continuing to stress that this person could be a potential witness. I also asked the TBI how long the Amber Alert for little Summer will be active. They assured me that it will remain active until she is found. Live in Hawkins County, Ansley Daniel, News Channel 11.
Ansley, thank you. The TBI said as of this afternoon, they've received 715 tips. Another look at Summer's photo. If you see this little girl, if you have any credible tip that possibly could help investigators find her, they're asking you to call them at the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation's toll-free tip line. It's 1-800-TBI-FIND, or there's an email, and it's tipstotbi@tn.gov.
First tonight, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation took to social media today saying they're once again seeing a slew of misinformation being spread online regarding the search for missing Hawkins County 5-year-old Summer Wells.
This has been a problem for months. Ansley Daniels tracking the story. Her family, Summer's family, reported her missing nearly 5 months ago. Ansley's now live in the studio with an update on the case. Ansley.
Josh and Sarah, in that series of 6 tweets, the TBI says that they've recently seen an uptick in misinformation about the case of the missing 5-year-old. Those tweets also reveal that numerous search warrants have been executed and any potential digital evidence has already been collected, including social media accounts. Summer Wells was reported missing by her family June 15th, sparking an Amber Alert and a widespread search in the Beech Creek community of Hawkins County. That search lasted for several weeks. In those tweets today, the TBI reiterated they are still working daily with the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office and the FBI in Knoxville in that search. They say that those efforts have included numerous ground searches, dozens of aerial searches, dive teams in area waters, and K-9 search teams. The TBI also says they have checked all available surveillance photos and videos in the area as well, and they continue to say they will not give up until Summer is found. Now, Donald Wells and Candus Bly will be speaking about their missing daughter in front of a national audience the next 2 days when they will be on the Dr. Phil Show. You can watch that here on News Channel 11 at 4 p.m. both Thursday and Friday to hear what they had to say. Now, following the Dr. Phil show on News Channel 11 at 5 and through the evening tomorrow, we will provide you with continuing in-depth coverage in the search for Summer Wells. You'll be able to hear from investigators, people in the Beech Creek community, and those working to keep Summer's name on people's minds.
The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, I know, and the Sheriff's Office are continuing to work on this, and they're still looking for this little girl. They say they've been so frustrated with the lack of information in the case. And I know, Ansley, you've been working with our team here to produce several stories over the next few days about the latest on the case. What are some of the things you're focusing on?
So we have spent a lot of time in Beech Creek as a team here at News Channel 11, especially in that height of the search. Now, we have gone back to Beech Creek the last few weeks. We have spoken with different neighbors. We have gone back to the investigators as well as Don Wells. We have spoken with all of them. So starting tomorrow, you're going to hear from Don Wells and Sheriff Lawson, but you're also going to meet a neighbor who lives across the street from the Wells family, who tells us that she heard a scream the night Summer went missing. She says that she heard it a few hours before that timeline that the police gave us started, but she kind of goes through what she recalls of that night and what she has been through with investigators. Now, we also spoke with a pair of YouTube content creators who talk a little bit about how that has played a major role in this case and why they believe cases like this are so popular on that online platform and what their passion is, because it's really interesting considering that, you know, these people are creating content based on cases that we cover in the news, but these people are just more like freelance or just regular content creators, people that aren't like us, and so just a different media platform. So we learned a little bit more about that, as well as other community members and a few other stories that we're excited to share with you that we've been working on the last couple of weeks.
We look forward to seeing those reports tomorrow, Ansley.
Ansley, thanks. Again, TBI is asking anyone with credible information on Summer Wells to contact them as the search continues. You can call 1-800-TBI-FIND or email your tips to tipstotbi@tn.gov.
From News Channel 11.
Breaking news at 6, day 9 in the search for 5-year-old Summer Wells, and investigators say they are heartbroken and extremely frustrated as the case is taking longer than usual to resolve. Thanks for joining us at 6. I'm Sarah Diamond.
I'm Josh Smith. Take a look at some new photos of Summer Wells that we obtained today. Summer's mother shared these with us. In a news briefing late this afternoon, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation said the search for Summer is, quote, definitely outside the norm when it comes to the standard amount of time for a missing persons case like this.
Typically, in an investigation like this one, we have some idea of where the case is headed and what might have happened within a few days. In this situation, despite doing everything within our power and exploring all avenues, the circumstances leading to Summer's disappearance remain unclear.
News Channel 11's John Janko is at today's news briefing. John, are investigators hopeful at this point that they will find Summer?
Sarah and Josh, while search teams and investigators are physically and mentally exhausted, I can tell you that they all remain hopeful. Leslie, at this point in the search and investigation, do you believe Summer Wells is still alive?
We hope so, but honestly, we just don't know. I mean, we're holding out hope, doing everything we can. Obviously, we typically would have found a child at this stage in the investigation, so honestly, we just don't know.
Hawkins County Sheriff Ronnie Lawson again made a plea to those who live in Beech Creek, Sullivan, and Hawkins counties to check and recheck their security or trail cam footage. In the desperate search for Summer Wells, he also had another request.
So if the general public that lives in this area will go back and search their outbuildings, their barns, their hay fields. Now it's mowing season, so when they mow, they need to pay attention. And if you have a resident that cannot search their property themselves, if they'll call my office at 423-272-4848, I will send an officer to your residence to search your property for you.
106 agencies are participating in the search for Summer Wells. You're looking at new video the TBI released this afternoon of crews conducting line searches in the Beech Creek area near where Summer was last seen. The TBI says the purpose of these searches is to ensure every inch of ground has been covered. They've covered about 4.6 square miles of terrain so far. That's about 3,000 acres. Captain Tim Coop of the Church Hill Rescue Squad says they've covered multiple ground multiple times. He said different eyes in different search teams may discover something someone else didn't notice. Live in the Beach Creek community, John Jenko, News Channel 11.
John, thank you very much.
Tonight marks 1 year in the disappearance for the now 6-year-old Summer Wells.
It was on this day last year around 6:30 p.m. the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office first heard about the missing little girl. She was last seen at her home on Ben Hill Road, reported missing by her family in the Beach Creek community.
TBI had released an endangered child alert for her at midnight. That alert changed to an Amber Alert at 11 o'clock the next morning. That alert remains active today. TBI spoke on just how unusual this case is.
We've said from the beginning that this case is outside the norm. There are few clues as to what happened to Summer, despite investigators doing everything within their power to find answers. All possibilities are still being explored.
Just stunning news a year later. The TBI tells us over 100 different agents have worked this case, with over 3 large ground searches now already conducted. There have also been targeted searches of those following up on those potential leads.
There have also been several canine and dive teams called in. Still no sign of Summer. TBI also says there has been false information posted across social media, some even soliciting donations, something that has had a major negative impact on the investigation.
Well, even with little luck on finding her, the community made it very clear tonight they're not giving up hope.
Tonight, a candlelight vigil was held for Summer with prayers for her safe return.
Our John Janko was at the vigil at Warriors Path State Park in Kingsport, and he has a look at those who came together to search for answers.
Josh, Sarah, dozens of people gathered here at the park just feet away from where Summer was swimming on the last day she was seen. These folks gathered in song and prayer starting at about 6 this evening, hoping to get some answers about Summer's disappearance soon.
There's so many people that are still praying and involved and just want to see Summer come home.
1 year since Summer Wells was last seen, a prayer vigil in her name. Trinkets, toys, and tributes lying next to where she swam just hours before her disappearance was reported.
It's just one spot that she spent so much time, so we just thought we'd love to be in the area, the last place that she got to enjoy.
Joseph Broadwater helped organize the vigil with his church group Awaken. He says tonight is about positivity, maintaining the hope that Summer may someday come home.
I don't think the negativity is helping the Summer Wells case in any way, and there's so many false stories, accusations, people just running rampant with their whatever comes across their mind, so it's just really not helping the case come full circle.
The case has become such a hot button issue online that Broadwater brought in security to make sure the event went smoothly. No issues were reported at the vigil. Despite the positive message, folks left tonight with no answers as to Summer's whereabouts.
She's out here somewhere, and we're hoping that she's fine. I mean, that's all that I want, is she's out here somewhere and unharmed.
A night of prayer.
We pray that the whole world is praying right now for Summer Wells.
And a community of people from different places, all waiting for the day when some answers come from this case.
It doesn't feel like it's been a year, and it's still just as heartbreaking today, but that hope is still just as much alive today.
A year out from Summer's disappearance and still no leads, but these folks hope keeping her name out there will eventually lead to a breakthrough. In Kingsport, John Jenko, News Channel 11.
Organizers of the vigil said they do not plan on stopping the gatherings anytime soon. It was 2 years ago on this very night that we were here on the air at 11 o'clock telling you about a little girl named Summer Wells who'd seemed to disappear.
Tonight, still no sign of the Hawkins County girl 2 years later. Her disappearance started as an endangered child alert that was then upgraded to an Amber Alert the next day. The image on the right is the first photo we ever saw of Summer.
And then on the left, there is that what we're hearing called an age-progressed image that shows what she could look like now at the age of 7. That photo, the most recent development released by investigators who say they really don't have anything new that they can publicly release at the 2-year mark. But that is not stopping people from hoping that someday Summer will be found.
News Channel 11's Clarice Shaley went to a vigil for Summer 2 years after she vanished. Clarice?
Over the past 2 years, we've covered numerous visuals for Summer Wells. Tonight, on the anniversary of her disappearance, people gathered once again, determined to keep her story in the public eye. Most days, Warriors Path State Park is full of people having fun outdoors. But Thursday night, The park became a gathering place for 2 separate vigils in honor of a missing little girl.
And I never imagined that 2 years later that we'd be here with no answers.
No answers, no suspects, no explanation about what happened to Summer Wells.
But it does become very, very frustrating, feeling like she's just out there lost and alone.
Many here said they want more transparency from law enforcement in Summer Wells' case.
We often hear that this is an active investigation, but to the public, it's we're active and what is happening on the law enforcement side.
Some here also pause to remember that Summer Wells is just one of many who've never come home.
If you look at the statistics and the data, it's really sad to see that the number of people that go missing every day.
But tonight wasn't about an investigation. It was about a little girl.
So we're going to show up and hold the space until, as long as we need to.
Till she's found, till she comes home.
Warriors Path State Park is significant in the Summer Wells case. She went swimming at the park the same day she was reporting missing from her home.
Clarice Shaley, thank you. We want to show you the photos of Summer one more time. You are urged to reach out to the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation with any credible tips. You are asked to only submit something credible, not social media rumors. That does not help them. This contact information for the TBI is there on your screen and on WJHL.com. Mark Reynolds, thank you very much. As this week marks 10 months since family members said Summer Wells disappeared from their home in Hawkins County, News Channel 11 continues to work to find answers. Tonight, Ansley Daniels in the Beech Creek community with a timeline of June 15th, 2021, leading up to that night.
We've walked you through what has happened since Summer Wells disappeared the night of June 15th. But for the first time, we walk you through that day with her mother and grandmother from their perspective just hours before she was reported missing.
Candus and I got up that morning. She came out and took me into the ER because my leg was messing up on me.
The hospital is about 25 minutes from the Wells Beech Creek home in Kingsport.
She took me into the hospital and I ended up getting a shot for it to get rid of the pain, and they prescribed me medication.
Summer, her mother, and grandmother spent the day in the closest city to their house.
Then we waited around for my prescription. Summer went swimming that day at the horse stables, I believe it was.
We were waiting on my mother's prescription from the drugstore at Walgreens on Fort Henry.
The three, along with a friend that Candus describes as a minor, then came swimming here at Warriors Path State Park. It's where the last known video of Summer was taken and then posted to TikTok.
We had to wait for Mom's prescription at Walgreens, so we just went up to Warriors. There was all kinds of trash everywhere at Warriors when we showed up. And I let Summer out to play. And we just stood there for about 15, 20 minutes, and then we all got back in the truck and went and got Mom's prescription, and I took him home, and then we came home.
And so then Summer came back here with you later that afternoon, right?
Yes.
The trip from Warriors Path back to Ben Hill Road is just over 17 miles, but Bly couldn't recall how many hours that was before she reported her daughter missing.
About how many hours was that before she was reported missing?
You know, I really can't tell you all the time details because time gets away from you when you're trying to enjoy yourself.
The three then returned here to their home on Ben Hill Road. A neighbor says that she first heard Candus calling for Summer around 6 o'clock that night. Police say that she was reported missing around half an hour later, around 6:30. In the Beech Creek community, Ansley Daniel, News Channel 11.
Now, this recount is based on what Summer's mother and grandmother told News Channel 11 about the day of June 15th. You can view their interviews about the night Summer went missing and see all of our coverage about the search for Summer on our website, WJHL.com. Mark Reynolds, thank you very much. As this week marks 10 months since family members said Summer Wells disappeared from their home in Hawkins County, News Channel 11 continues to work to find answers. Tonight, Ansley Daniels in the Beech Creek community with a timeline of June 15th, 2021, leading up to that night.
We've walked you through what has happened since Summer Wells disappeared the night of June 15th. But for the first time, we walk you through that day with her mother and grandmother from their perspective just hours before she was reported missing.
Candus and I got up that morning. She came out and took me into the ER because my leg was messing up on me.
The hospital is about 25 minutes from the Wells Beach Creek home in Kingsport.
She took me into the hospital, and I ended up getting a shot for it to get rid of the pain. And they prescribed me medication.
Summer, her mother, and grandmother spent the day in the closest city to their house.
Then we waited around for my prescription. Summer went swimming that day at the horse stables, I believe it was.
We were waiting on my mother's prescription from the drugstore at Walgreens on Fort Henry.
The three, along with a friend that Candus describes as a minor, then came swimming here at Warriors Path State Park. It's where the last known video of Summer was taken and then posted to TikTok.
We had to wait for Mom's prescription at Walgreens, so we just went up to Warriors. There was all kinds of trash everywhere at Warriors when we showed up. And I let Summer out to play, and we just stood there for about 15-20 minutes, and then we all got back in the truck and went and got Mom's prescription, and I took him home, and then we came home.
And so then Summer came back here with you later that afternoon, right?
Yes.
The trip from Warriors Path back to Ben Hill Road is just over 17 miles. But Bly couldn't recall how many hours that was before she reported her daughter missing.
About how many hours was that before she was reported missing?
You know, I really can't tell you all the time details because time gets away from you when you're trying to enjoy yourself.
The three then returned here to their home on Ben Hill Road. A neighbor says that she first heard Candus calling for Summer around 6 o'clock that night. Police say that she was reported missing around half an hour later, around 6:30. In the Beach Creek community, Ansley Daniel, News Channel 11.
Now, this recount is based on what Summer's mother and grandmother told News Channel 11 about the day of June 15th. You can view their interviews about the night Summer went missing and see all of our coverage about the search for Summer on our website, WJHL.com.